Under the glow of festival lanterns, a family shares a joyous laugh. Nearby, a father gives his child a shoulder ride, both beaming with delight. Whoa, the bustling night market is alive with energy as people wander the illuminated streets. A mustached man devours a huge dumpling with incredible gusto. A woman with a flower in her hair watches him, her expression one of pure shock. A goateed man asks his companion in red if they should intervene. Beside towering stacks of empty plates, the goateed man wonders how the man is still alive. He then questions why the man, now revealed as a wealthy lord, is crying while feasting. The man in red explains that this is no ordinary man. He is famous throughout Henan. The goateed man guesses it's due to his appearance, but the man in red scoffs at his poor judgment. He explains that you can't judge by looks, and that the man is known for an unprecedented feat. The feasting man once stood over mountains of gold, having unified every merchant union in Henan. The goateed man is stunned by the revelation, which his companion confirms is true. He is the grand merchant who unified all the merchant unions in Henan. The grand merchant continues to eat, tears streaming down his face. Stop. A hand gestures, forcefully demanding an end to the feast. A woman angrily scolds him for consuming 3 days' worth of food in a single meal. She tries to pull the grand merchant from his chair, pleading for him to stop eating before he hurts himself, remembering his handsome youth. He shouts back that if he stops, the haunting memories will return. He clutches his robe in fear, thinking of that nightmarish day. The woman, now identified as Yonghua, looks on in terror. She releases her grip, asking if he truly intends to go on like this. Yonghua confronts him, demanding to know if he plans to die this way. Broken, the grand merchant whispers her name, Yai Yanhua. Later, a carriage makes its way through a dark forest. Inside, the grand merchant's hands nervously handle a blue beaded necklace. Sitting across from Yanhua, he confesses that all his riches now feel meaningless. He admits his gluttony and jewels are just a mask for a wound that won't heal. Nightmares of that day still plague him, a deep scar visible on his forehead. Yonishua watches her young master with deep concern. The grand merchant lets out a weary sigh. He remarks how she still calls him young master instead of head merchant, despite the years. With tears in her eyes, Yanhua insists he will always be the young master of the Tianzhong clan. He sadly notes the wrinkles on her face. He acknowledges her unwavering loyalty, declaring that she is like family to him. Touching the scars on his chest, he tells Yanhua he would be long dead without her. His thoughts drift back to the day his clan, the Tianzhong clan, met its end. A memory of his family's estate being consumed by a raging inferno. An image of his once happy family, father, mother, sister, and him as a boy, flickers in the flames. He recalls hating his father more than anyone else in the world. In a flashback, a younger him defiantly tells his sister to direct their father to a statue if he comes looking. He remembers turning his back on his family and accepting an arranged marriage into the Sky Ocean Merchant Union. A few years later, the Tianzhong clan was annihilated by the Devi sect. Watching his home burn to the ground, he was struck by a devastating realization. He knelt in despair before the statue of his father as flames devoured everything. He understood that his hatred for his father was matched by something else. Overwhelmed by grief and regret, he weeps uncontrollably. In a fit of despair, his younger self smashes his head against the stone statue. His sister screams for him to stop as the fire rages. She desperately warns him that he is going to kill himself. As he collapses, his sister rushes to his side, sobbing over his broken form. Yanhua listens as the grand merchant vows to change, promising to mend his marriage and lose weight. The grand merchant laughs, declaring his grieving period over and vowing to serve his family, though he worries about his wife. Yanhua, moved, calls him young master, as he begins to make another promise. Suddenly, a violent impact shatters the carriage, throwing them into chaos. Falling from the wreckage, the grand merchant screams Yanhua's name in terror. The carriage is completely obliterated by a devastating attack. Urgh! The grand merchant is violently thrown from the carriage, his beaded necklace flying free. He hits the ground hard, his belongings scattering around him. A mysterious white-haired man sprints through the forest with incredible speed. The white-haired man crashes violently into a tree, his momentum halted. Spitting blood, the white-haired man grits his teeth, realizing his organs are shredded. HMPH, Despite his grave injuries, his eyes burn with fierce determination. In a chaotic blur, the white-haired man is seen fighting shadowy figures. An attacker stabs the white-haired man, reminding him that escape was never an option. The white-haired man glares in rage, accusing his killer of betrayal. Even while grievously wounded, he desperately parries another attacker's strike. A masked assassin looms over him, bidding farewell to the almighty demonic master. The demonic master curses the blood demon castle, vowing to grind them to dust. Ugh! He roars, unleashing a final explosive burst of red energy that shocks his assassins. In the aftermath of the blast, a defeated assassin lies motionless on the ground. Urgh. The Grand Merchant slowly gets to his feet, wounded and disoriented from the crash. Looking up, the Grand Merchant spots a figure lying motionless in the distance. He realizes with dawning horror that the figure is Yanhwa, and he chokes out her name. Screaming her name, the Grand Merchant scrambles toward her fallen body. He reaches Yanhwa, who is gravely wounded and can only gasp in pain. He cradles her, his mind reeling in disbelief at the horrific scene. Clutching her body, he howls in agony, cursing this terrible stroke of misfortune. Nearby, the dying demonic master realizes he must find a new body before his heart stops. His only option is a forbidden art, the spirit possession technique. Shit, he mutters, collapsing in despair and wondering if this is truly the end. Just as he despairs, a voice calls out, "Hey, old man." The Grand Merchant confronts the dying master, accusing him of causing Yanhwa's death. He grabs the old man, screaming for answers, his grief turning to pure rage. The demonic master weakly murmurs a warning, his voice barely a whisper. With a swift move, the dying master strikes a pressure point, shocking the Grand Merchant. The Grand Merchant falls back, completely paralyzed by the attack. Lying helpless on the ground, he realizes his body is completely immobile. Surrounded by a dark aura, the demonic master chides him for attacking an injured old man. Paralyzed, the Grand Merchant realizes his fatal mistake. He lost his temper with a martial artist. Shit. The Grand Merchant lies helpless, consumed by the realization of his foolish mistake. The demonic master explains he had hoped to possess a young, talented body for his last life. But with his life fading, he declares he has no other choice now. Declaring he'll take the body of a pig if he must, he begins the possession ritual. His hand glows red on the merchant's body as he affirms his desperate need to live. He begins the chant, preparing to inject 160 years of martial essence into the body. He then channels the culmination of his spirit and soul into his other hand. He declares his intent to pour everything into his new vessel. A brilliant pillar of red light erupts as the spirit possession technique reaches its climax. Wisps of red energy, the demonic master's soul, leave his old body and enter the Grand Merchant. The Grand Merchant's body sits up, the possession seemingly complete. Thud. The demonic master's original body collapses, the spirit possession complete. Inside his new vessel, the demonic master ponders the transfer, sensing a strange resistance. A sinister grin spreads across his new face, his eyes glowing red with triumphant power. Urge. The possession wavers as he celebrates his success, cursing the body's original owner. Within their shared consciousness, the demonic master is shocked to find the merchant's spirit resisting his power. The Grand Merchant's spirit fiercely declares that he cannot die like this. The two souls clash as the merchant's spirit vows to survive and avenge his clan. The red spirit of the demonic master and the blue spirit of the merchant battle for control. The demonic master scoffs at the merchant's futile resistance, though surprised by his willpower. The Grand Merchant's blue spirit begins to fade, its consciousness overwhelmed by the struggle. As the spiritual battle rages, a masked assassin approaches the newly possessed body. The assassin acknowledges the demonic master's amazing feat of transferring bodies, but adds a menacing however. He lunges forward to attack the vulnerable body, which can only curse in defiance. The assassin's blade pierces the body's chest, interrupting the spirit possession just before it finished. Blood spews from the possessed man's mouth as the ritual is violently broken. A crimson shockwave erupts from the body, blasting the assassin away. A new day dawns as a man groans, his head feeling like it's about to split open. Waking in an unfamiliar room, he wonders if he's in an apothecary. Looking around at the shelves of books, he notes that his throat is dry. He reaches for a nearby bowl and drinks from it. He realizes with disgust that the bitter liquid is medicine, not water. He pauses, looking at his hand in stunned silence. Ugh! A scream of utter shock echoes from the room. Staring in disbelief at his hands, he sits surrounded by the shattered fragments of a mirror. He tearfully asks what's wrong with his hands, which are now slender and youthful. A young girl bursts into the room, crying, "Young master," and asking if he is okay. The girl, a much younger Yeonhwa, stops and explains that she heard something break. He grabs her, asking if she is truly Yeonhwa and why she looks so young. A concerned Yeonhwa asks if he had another nightmare. He concludes this must all be a dream. He steps on a sharp piece of the broken mirror, his foot bleeding from the cut. While Yeonhwa panics, he is shocked to realize the wound doesn't hurt. His eyes widen with a startling realization. A thought dawns on him as he looks down in wonder. Ignoring Yeonhwa's pleas, he calmly walks outside into the courtyard. He leaps effortlessly into the air, landing lightly before the stone statue of his younger self. Landing softly, he whispers in disbelief, "Why is this?" He reaches out a trembling hand toward the familiar stone statue. With tears streaming down his face, he asks her when he had this statue of his defiant younger self placed here. A worried Yeonhwa informs her young master that it's been about 5 days. Yeonhwa watches in confusion as a memory of a burning building flashes in his mind. He recalls the moment the assassin's blade pierced him, interrupting the possession. Kia. He collapses in the courtyard as Yeonhwa rushes toward him, screaming his name. Gritting his teeth, he accepts the truth. This is no dream, and he has returned to the past. Looking at the broken, blood-stained statue, he calculates that he has 3 years. Standing over the wreckage, he realizes he has 3 years before the day his clan falls. Surrounded by his clan members, he makes a solemn vow. He swears that he will protect his people and the Tianzhong clan. Bloodied but filled with new purpose, he resolves to save them at all costs. A scenic view of the Hainan Tianzong mountain explains that while many clans existed, the Yong clan unified them all. The Yong clan, symbolized by a magnificent dragon, once ruled over all others in Henan, but with the Yong name dropped. The Tianzong clan's once great fame has now faded into obscurity. 30 years have passed since the clan's glorious days, a man reflects somberly. The clan head, Yong Biang, laments their lack of skilled martial artists ever since the time of Elder Yong Gosang, the supreme dragon of Henan. He sadly admits to his companion that their clan is now just a shadow of its former self, a truth they cannot deny. The woman hopes for Hwarin's recovery to lead them to a better future, but Yongbyong knows a difficult truth. He grimaces, acknowledging that his son Hwarin hates him and blames himself for remarrying too quickly after his first wife's death. His companion gently suggests patience, believing Hwarin simply needs more time to heal from his grief. But Yongbyong feels the distance between them is only growing wider with each passing day. He recalls with a headache how Hwarin recently placed a statue in the garden and told him to speak to it instead. As he apologizes for complaining, a servant suddenly rushes toward him, desperately shouting for the clan head. It's the young Yeonhwa, and he calmly asks her why she is in such a frantic hurry. Through tears, Yeonhwa stammers about young master Hwarin, prompting Yongbyong to urge her to calm down and explain. She cries out that Hwarin has hurt himself and is now unconscious, leaving them both utterly shocked. Hwarin groans, waking up from his collapse in the courtyard. In a dream, he finds himself splashing in the cool water at the bottom of a waterfall. A woman, his mother, watches as a young Hwarin joyfully plays, exclaiming about the many koi fish. Look, he proudly shows off a massive fish he caught, grinning from ear to ear. His happy expression freezes as he starts to call out for his mother. He calls out, "Mother," only to see her lying lifeless on the nearby rocks. Tossing in his sleep, he murmurs his own name. Hwarin. Sniffle. He wakes with a tearful gasp to see his mother's spirit reaching for him. Sniffle. He embraces her and she soothes him, telling him everything is okay and to stop crying. Suddenly, a harsh inner voice commands him to stop his damned tears. The demonic master's spirit manifests, grabbing his face and calling him a weakling. The spirit snarls, declaring he will take the boy's head as a treat. His jaw unhinges into a monstrous maw, preparing to devour Hwarin whole. Hwarin screams, bolting upright as he wakes from the terrifying nightmare. Huff, huff. He catches his breath, shaken by the vivid horror of the dream. Looking around, he recognizes his childhood room, a place that feels both familiar and strangely foreign. As his eyes scan the room, He confirms he is still there. Sitting up, he fully accepts the unbelievable reality. He has truly returned to the past. He clenches his fist, recalling the painful past where he hated his father and isolated himself. He remembers the tragic future that awaits, his father's death and the fall of their clan. But now, armed with knowledge of the future, he realizes with grim determination that he can prevent it all. He's suddenly bewildered as a strange, powerful red energy begins to envelop his body. Meanwhile, two maids gossip in disbelief, one questioning if he really destroyed a statue with his head. The other insists she saw it herself, finding it impossible since he's always been bedridden and never learned martial arts. She concludes he must be possessed as an image shows him levitating, radiating otherworldly energy. He steps outside, and the startled maids quickly stammer an apology to the young master. He suddenly clutches his lower abdomen, overcome by an intense heat and a startling urge for a woman. Holy shit. He panics, horrified by this overwhelming and unnatural need coursing through him. He recalls that in his original past, he was so weak at this time he could barely even walk. He instantly recognizes this suffocating aura as the demonic master's energy. He writhes in pain, realizing the overwhelming power will consume him if he doesn't act fast. He sprints away, leaving the maids stunned as they worry he'll get in trouble for his thin clothes. He dashes through a bamboo forest, moving with speed he never thought possible. He knows he must find a way to control this rampaging energy before it completely takes him over. Huff, huff, he pushes onward, the red demonic energy pulsing violently around him. He finally stops, arriving at a familiar, significant place. He plunges into the frigid water, desperately trying to quell the demonic energy. Phew! As the red aura subsides, he gasps in relief, thinking he is saved. A triumphant grin spreads across his face, thankful to have survived the ordeal. His relief is cut short as a voice cries out his name. Hwarin! He turns in shock to see his father, Yong, rushing towards him, followed by clan members. His father splashes into the water, angrily demanding to know what he is doing. He asks if Hwarin is trying to kill himself on such a cold day just because he hates him. Yong tearfully holds his son's head, overcome with worry, while Hwarin remains silent. As his father worries about his forehead, Hwarin looks up with tear-filled eyes, thinking, I missed you, father. He hesitates, realizing that a sudden display of affection would seem strange to everyone. He resolves to reconnect with his father naturally, starting now. Embracing his father tightly, he decides to take it one slow step at a time. Overwhelmed with emotion, he can only stammer his father's name as they hold each other. As his clan looks on, Yong prays that this moment of reconciliation is not just a fleeting dream. 3 months later, Hwarin fishes peacefully on a dock with the young man. The young man, his half-brother Yong Kijong, laughs that he's winning their bet and teases Hwarin about his fishing skills. Hwarin recalls how Kijong became incapacitated after suffering a chi blockage, leading to the clan's decline. Kijong asks if Hwarin should stop taking his medicine, but Hwarin reveals that was what made him fat. A confused Kijong asks when he was ever fat, forcing Hwarin to quickly backtrack, claiming he meant he might get fat. Kijong smiles, admitting he likes how Hwarin has been acting lately. Kijong shows off his bigger catch, declaring victory in their bet as Hwarin groans, Ugh, my money. HMPH. Declaring he can't lose again, Hwarin dumps his own fish into Kijong's baskets. ACKK. Kijong stumbles backward from the sudden weight, accusing Hwarin of cheating. Wah! With a playful kick, Hwarin sends his brother tumbling into the water. Ha. He pulls a sputtering Kijong out, laughing and reflecting that he never knew his brother was so bright. He internally apologizes to Kijong, acknowledging he put too heavy a burden on him in the past. Huff, huff. He narrates that he has been spending his days working out rigorously. Huff he must get fit enough before he can begin his martial arts training. Though the demonic master's energy has been dormant, he meditates under a waterfall each morning just in case. As he rises from the water, a mark is visible on his back, a remnant of the demonic master. His younger half-sister, Yong appears, holding a towel for him. He tells her she doesn't have to do this, but she cheerfully replies that she likes being friends with him now. Drying off, he remembers his sister as always being active and friendly, often inviting him to events. He recalls his past self cruelly interrupting her invitation to a festival, asking if she was kidding. A flashback shows his past self's cold, resentful expression. He remembers rejecting her twice, leaving her in tears as he walked away. That was their last interaction. He grimly recalls that she was murdered on her way to the festival, and their father was assassinated while investigating. He identifies two crucial events: today's Moon Festival and the Yong Clan Festival 1 year from now. Returning to the present, he asks Seolin if the Moon Festival is today. Her face lights up with joy as she asks if he'll really go with her this time. Hwarin clenches his fist, his resolve hardening. He reflects on this precious second chance at life, vowing that he cannot let the same tragedies happen again. To prevent the future he knows, he must become stronger. He declares his intent to become strong enough to protect everyone. The scene shifts to the clan's training grounds, where men are practicing. Hwarin watches them, reflecting on his past. He remembers his old life of solitude, spent drinking medicine and reading books in his room, but now everything has changed. Ironically, thanks to the demonic master's ominous aura. Filled with a new vitality, he admits he's itching to move. Filled with newfound strength, he declares his desire to test out his improved body. As he prepares to join the training, his father calls his name Hwarin, causing him to turn in surprise. His father, Yong smiles proudly, remarking that his son has truly changed and grown up. As his father dotes on him, Hwarin asks him to stop, embarrassed by the other disciples watching, but Yong just laughs. Yong suggests that it's time for Hwarin to officially learn the family's martial arts, instead of just doing physical exercises. Hwarin agrees immediately, but hesitates when his father offers to arrange an instructor. As Yong asks who he has in mind, a familiar voice calls out, "Brother!" His sister, Yong Seolin, rushes over and joyfully embraces him. Yong playfully complains that she ignores him now, but Seolin excitedly shows off the new clothes her brother picked for her. Yong laughs, admitting he can't argue with her, and she sweetly reminds him that she loves him too. Looking at his happy family, Hwarin resolves that he needs strength not just for himself, but to protect them all. Determined to learn martial arts, he envisions a powerful red-haired woman training with a sword. The red-haired woman unleashes a powerful, arcing slash with her blade. She leaps into the air, landing with tremendous force in the training yard. She stands silently for a moment, catching her breath after the intense practice. Turning, she asks what brings someone to this worn-down place, her name revealed as Dragonflower Sword Mo Byung. Mo Byung addresses Hwarin as Young Master Yong. He greets her and states he has a request. Hwarin laughs, acknowledging the rumors of his recovery are true, leaving Mo Byung to silently observe him. Mo Byung internally questions what this twisted man, whom she's never spoken to, could possibly want from her. Without a word, Hwarin bows deeply before her. He formally asks her to please take him in as her disciple. Mo Byung considers his request, recalling the rumors that he had changed a few months ago. However, she remains deeply skeptical, wondering if a person can truly change so suddenly. She reflects that many people live upright lives, even with difficult upbringings. But young Master Yong spent years doing nothing but wallowing in his own hatred. He completely cut himself off from his family and everything else. She turns away, her decision made. She flatly refuses his request, leaving Hwarin momentarily stunned. When he asks why, she says she is busy investigating the stagnation of the clan's secret arts. She apologizes, stating that people don't change so easily, and begins to walk away. Hwarin thinks to himself, as I thought. He watches her leave, concluding she must still think of him as quite pathetic. He recalls that in the past, instructor Mo Byung was a recluse who rarely interacted with others. She wasn't purposefully hiding her abilities, but few in the clan knew of her true prowess. But Hwarin knows from the future that her martial arts skills far exceed anyone else's in their clan. A vision of her future fighting prowess flashes before his determined eyes. Mo Byung stops, sensing something has changed behind her. She turns in shock to see Hwarin kneeling on the ground before her. She angrily demands to know why the eldest son of the clan is kneeling over such an insignificant matter. He murmurs, "No," leaving her confused. Looking up with fierce determination, he declares that this is not an insignificant matter to him. He recalls her future valor, where she was the greatest contributor in the battle against the Debi sect. She earned the unflattering title Dragon Blood Flower, and gave her all to rebuild the Tianzong clan. until she was found dead under mysterious circumstances. He clenches his fist, remembering she gave her life for the clan and vowing he will not allow that to happen again. He silently promises to protect her and the Tianzhong clan this time. Mo Byung is taken aback by the sudden shift in his demeanor, wondering if he's truly turned over a new leaf. After a moment of thought, she calmly accepts his request. Really, Hwarin exclaims in disbelief, and she quietly confirms with a yes. However, she adds a condition. She will only accept him as a disciple if he can best her in a spar. Hwarin is stunned by her condition, protesting that the gap in their abilities is too huge for a single touch. Mo Byung calmly states the terms. If his sword touches her once, he wins, but she vows it won't happen and will not use her chi or the clan's arts. She asks if he accepts the challenge, their determined gazes locking. Hwarin reflects on his hard training since returning to the past, stealing his resolve. With a confident grin, he clenches his fist and accepts the fight. Hwarin is instantly knocked out, lying dazed on the ground next to his sword. Lying on the ground in shock, he realizes he was defeated before he could even touch her, stunned by the massive skill gap. Declaring her victory, Mo Byung turns to leave him defeated on the training ground. Gritting his teeth in furious frustration, Hwarin refuses to accept defeat. He leaps up, screaming that they're not done yet, and lunges at her again. She effortlessly parries his wild swing with the flat of her blade. Pushing him back, she chides him for his recklessness as he cries out in defiance. He struggles against her blade, roaring that they are not done yet. He stumbles back, but remains standing, panting that it's not over. With a bruised but fiercely determined face, he glares at her, refusing to yield. Mo Byung pauses, acknowledging that his effort is commendable. As she observes him, she sees a faint, ominous red aura begin to flicker around him. A volatile red and black energy suddenly erupts from Hwarin's body. Mo Byung's eyes widen as she senses the strange, powerful energy swirling around him. Hwarin is completely enveloped in the raging demonic aura. Mo Byung is shocked, realizing this strange red aura is not a martial art from the Tianzhong clan. As the demonic energy flares, she stands stunned, wondering what this power is. She shouts at young Master Yong, trying to snap him out of his frenzied state. Possessed by the aura, Hwarin's face twists into a demonic, glowing-eyed snarl. He charges forward, his wooden sword imbued with the dark energy. Mo Byung barely manages to dodge his blindingly fast, powerful strike. Erg! She grits her teeth, shocked by his incredible speed. Empowered by the demonic aura, Hwarin presses his ferocious assault. He leaps high into the air, preparing to bring his sword down with terrifying force. The ground shatters from the impact of his blow, sending Mo Byung flying backward. Slamming against a wall, she realizes with dread that she's in trouble. Before she can recover, he appears before her, poised to strike. Recognizing the lethal danger, she resolves to use her ultimate technique, the Soaring Dragon Emperor Sword, first form, to counter him. The two warriors face off in a climactic, high-stakes moment. Mo Byung sweats, bracing herself for his final, demonic attack. His wooden sword resting on her shoulder, Hwarin smirks, declaring, "I touched you, Dragonflower Sword." Correcting himself to master Mo Byung, he succumbs to exhaustion and collapses. He falls unconscious at her feet, the duel finally over. The camera pans up to reveal a massive crack in the courtyard wall from the force of their battle. Sometime later, Hwarin practices his sword forms in the training yard, under Mo Byung's watch. He executes a powerful and precise sword swing during his training. He moves fluidly through the steps of a complex sword form. Leaping through the air, he practices advanced combat maneuvers with his sword. Mo Byung watches from a distance, amazed and questioning if he always possessed such incredible talent. She internally notes his shocking progress, having mastered 2 difficult sword styles in just a few days. She reflects on how he never showed any sign of martial talent before his sudden change. Huff, huff. Hwarin finishes his practice, panting from the exertion. He stands before Mo Byung, asking for her assessment of his training. She praises his progress, noting that while he hasn't unlocked the art's secrets, his execution of the forms is excellent for his short training time. Hwarin laughs humbly at her praise, while Mo Byung continues to watch him with a keenly observant gaze. Mo Byung continues her praise, saying it's incredible to see him like this when he was bedridden just a short while ago. Hwarin sweats nervously as Mo Byung brings up the strange red chi he used during their spar. Ha! He dismisses her question with a tired sigh, claiming he has already explained it. He lies, saying he can't remember anything from the fight because she hit him so many times. He playfully scolds her, joking that only the Dragonflower Sword would dare treat the clan's eldest son so roughly. Young gives him an intense, scrutinizing look, clearly not believing his evasive answers. Seeing that he won't answer, she drops the subject for now, making him nervous. However, she warns him that as a servant of the Tianzong clan, she will be observing his every move from now on. Warren smiles, joking that her constant surveillance sounds a little scary. The scene shifts to a quiet clan building at night, illuminated by a single lantern. Inside, Hwarin reflects on the new power he can feel after learning the clan's sword arts. Studying a martial arts manual, he confirms his suspicion that the Tianzong's techniques are incomplete. He acknowledges this is inevitable, as the clan's martial arts are originally from the demonic sects. A flashback reveals the Tianzong clan's progenitor, a wandering martial artist dedicated to justice. The progenitor received 2 demonic arts from the master of a hidden sect that was neither righteous nor demonic. Despite learning demonic arts, the progenitor held fast to his path of justice. His blade symbolized his righteous path, forged from a dark origin. To stay on his path, he suppressed the demonic arts, but the reduced power was still enough to make him Hinen's greatest swordsman. However, using orthodox techniques with demonic arts left them incomplete, preventing him from ever reaching the supreme peak. The progenitor kept the demonic origins of their martial arts a secret from the clan. This secret, he recalls, ultimately led to the downfall and destruction of their clan in a blaze of fire. With a determined grin, Hwarin clenches his fist, realizing he now has a way to complete the clan's unstable martial arts. The scene changes to a peaceful garden, where Hwarin has tea with his father and his stepmother. Hwarin informs his father of his intention to visit the Jiggle clan. His father, Yong, asks what business he has there, wherein explains that he wants to greet the Jagel clan formally, as someone who has an arranged marriage with one of their daughters that was decided before his birth. Yong reminisces about the arrangement and reveals the daughter's name is Jagal Chengyang. He fondly recalls his friendship with Jagal Yugio, Chengyang's father, certain he'd be delighted by the visit. Yong blushes, mentioning he's heard Jagal Chengyang is an incredible beauty. He asks his son when he plans to leave for the Jagel clan, wherein stepmother expresses her concern, believing he should rest more since he's only just recovered. Yong laughs, insisting Hwarin is of age and that traveling to make friends is an important experience. She reluctantly agrees, but asks him to be careful on the long journey. Elsewhere, Young's eyes narrow with intense suspicion upon hearing of Hwarin's plan, wherein happily greets Master Mo, then curiously asks about the 2 large men standing behind her. 2 burly men approach Hwarin, who watches them with confusion. The 2 men start examining Hwarin's physique, comically checking his muscles and noting their flexibility despite his size. One of the men grins, confirming the rumors of his training are true, while the other agrees he seems very different now. Hwarin recognizes them, formally greeting them as the 2 rising ghost blades. One of the ghost blades eagerly vows to protect the young master, while the other remarks on his body's potential for bulk. Hwarin internally identifies his new bodyguards as Jungwook and Namwook, the 2 rising ghost blades, noting his father chose them well, despite their muscle-head appearance. Taking charge, Hwarin declares that he will decide their route and expects them to follow without question. Jungwook smiles respectfully and readily agrees to follow the young master's orders. Hwarin leads his party, including his master and new bodyguards, out through a bamboo path to begin their journey. His little sister Seolin tearfully asks if her brother really has to go. Hwarin gently comforts her, promising to take her anywhere she wants during the next festival, and she asks if he means it. Of course. He gives her a bright, reassuring smile, confirming his promise. Yong and his wife watch the tender moment between the siblings with proud, warm smiles. Hwarin turns to his brother Kijong, placing a hand on his shoulder. He entrusts the care of Seolin and the rest of the family to Kijong in his absence. Kijong watches his brother leave, wondering if Hwarin has always seemed so tall. Taking his new responsibility to heart, Kijong vows to protect the family with his life. Kijong addresses his parents as the family gathers to see Hwarin off. Hwarin gives a final, formal salute to his family, announcing his departure. Hwarin's party of 4 riders gallops away from the clan estate. He glances back one last time as he rides away down the bamboo path. A close-up reveals the unwavering determination in Hwarin's golden eyes. The scene transitions to a large, weathered gate shrouded in darkness. Hwarin sits inside a carriage with a grim expression as the journey continues. Suddenly, a frantic voice from outside calls out, "Young master!" A young servant girl bows deeply before the carriage, panting for breath. She desperately begs to be allowed to accompany him on his journey. Reaching out with a pleading cry, the girl continues her desperate appeal. Left behind on the path, the servant girl looks on with dejection. Hwarin, now on his horse, looks back at the lone figure on the road. He turns his horse around and calls out her name in surprise. "Manhwa?" Hwarin's expression is serious as he observes the desperate girl. One of his bodyguards advises him to refuse her, insisting the journey is too dangerous for a servant. Hwarin dismounts his horse, his gaze fixed on Manhwa down the road. He walks purposefully towards the young servant girl. As she apologizes with eyes squeezed shut, he places a hand gently on her shoulder. He pulls her into a sudden embrace, startling her as she calls out his title. Utterly shocked, Manhwa stares over his shoulder with wide, tear-filled eyes. Mobyung and one of the Ghostblades watch the unexpected display of compassion. Hwarin tells Manhwa he is grateful for her and always wishes for her to be by her side. However, he explains that his path is too dangerous and he cannot protect her yet. He declares that he can't put her in harm's way because she is his beloved family, leaving her stunned. With a kind smile, he asks her to wait for him with his family back at the clan. Crying with happiness, Manhwa gratefully accepts his request and promises to wait. His farewell complete, Hwarin mounts his horse with a resolute gaze. As he rides away, he reflects that the Tianzong clan will be greatly changed upon his return. With fierce determination, he vows to protect his family and prevent the fall of their clan. Haya A rider spurs their horse onward, kicking up dust. Hwarin leads his party at a full gallop, speeding away from his home. He thinks to himself that his visit to the Jaegul clan was just an excuse. Their true destination is Wudang Mountain, which is not far from the Jaegul clan's territory. He knows the secret to perfecting the clan's incomplete martial arts lies in Wudang Mountain. He announces their real destination. They are heading to Wudang. The sun rises over the majestic, cloud-shrouded peaks of the Wudang Mountains. Hwarin's eye flashes as a memory from his past life begins to emerge. He finds himself floating in an ethereal, watery void, questioning where he is. He stands alone on the surface of the water, which perfectly reflects the sky. A faint, knowing smile appears on his lips as he begins to remember. He holds a broken wooden tablet, realizing what this place signifies. His expression turns dark and vengeful as he thinks of the Tianzong clan. He stares at the tablet as the serene vision burns away into a fiery, desolate landscape. A memory of his past self drowning in a sea of fire flashes before him as he cries out in horror. He flees from the inferno, consuming his clan's estate, screaming in utter despair. A monstrous, fiery entity roars from the flames, mocking him as a fool. He screams in agony as he is violently thrown back by tendrils of demonic energy. The demonic entity from his past roars, mocking the opportunity he received that defies the heavens. Hwarin recognizes the entity as the old man from the hidden sect, questioning how he's here. A demonic eye glares as the entity declares that Hwarin cannot change anything. As the entity demands his body, a bright flash of light cuts it off. Snap! Mobyung's voice cuts through his vision, asking why he's zoning out during their spar. Back in reality, Hwarin finds himself completely defenseless before Mobyung's sword. She effortlessly parries his unfocused attack, sending him stumbling back. With her blade resting on his shoulder, she has him completely defeated. Caught off guard and lost in thought, Hwarin nervously surrenders the match. Mobyung observes him from afar, noting his lack of focus and asking if he's feeling unwell. Hwarin turns away, admitting that something has been bothering him. He explains that his sleep has been disturbed for the past few days. One of the Ghostblades approaches, inviting him to train with them if he's not feeling well. The Ghostblades energetically demonstrate their intense strength-building exercises, explaining the matching reverse lifting flow and adding thrust flow. Hwarin laughs nervously and politely declines their intense workout offer for now. Changing the subject, he announces he has something important to discuss regarding their journey. The party rides through a tranquil bamboo forest on their journey. Hwarin declares a detour, stating his wish to stop by Mount Seven Sages, much to his bodyguard's confusion. He spins a tale about a book mentioning rare 100-year-old ginseng and monkey wine found on the mountain. The two ghost blades immediately blush and daydream about the legendary monkey wine. Hwarin smirks, teasing them about their reputation as the two rising drunken ghosts due to their love of liquor. Ahem. The flustered bodyguards loudly proclaim their enthusiastic support for the young master's wise decision. Mo-byung remains skeptical, warning that Mount Seven Sages is near demonic territory and a dangerous place for an orthodox clan. Hwarin casually dismisses her concern, suggesting they can simply lie about their identity if they get caught. She scolds him for such a disrespectful idea, but he coldly questions the importance of the clan's pride. He rides ahead, putting an end to her lecture. He declares that if faced with a great evil, he would not hesitate to claim he's from a demonic sect himself. One of the Ghost Blades supports Hwarin, questioning why they should fear demonic sects and agreeing with his plan. Mo-byung wryly asks if he isn't just eager for monkey wine, which makes the Ghost Blades chuckle guiltily. Hwarin feigns a headache, claiming he wants to get ginseng for his parents to guilt-trip his master. Mo-byung reluctantly concedes, and Hwarin formally announces their new destination, Mount Seven Sages. He thanks them for their cooperation and suggests they make preparations at a nearby inn. With a sinister grin, Hwarin internally reveals his true intentions. Of course I lied. He thinks to himself that there's no ginseng or wine, but something far more valuable on Mount Seven Sages. His true prize is the legendary demonic poison stone flower, glowing with a sinister purple energy. The narrative explains that the flower grows from a crystal formed by poison pooling over centuries. At times, a seed falls onto the crystal, taking root in the potent poison. The seed then blooms, imbued with poison and demonic energy, creating the demonic poison stone flower. Hwarin is confident the flower is on Mount Seven Sages, but a doubt lingers in his mind. At an inn, they overhear other martial artists discussing a recent gathering of demonic sects at Mount Seven Sages. A patron whispers that medicines beneficial to demonic sects were discovered there, specifically naming the demonic poison stone flower. Hwarin is shocked, wondering how his secret information has become public knowledge. Mo-byung confirms the rumors, advising against going to a place now swarming with demonic masters. Hwarin calmly agrees that the masters of the demonic sects will undoubtedly fight over the flower, but he smirks, revealing that he has no intention of getting caught in their fight. His true plan is to let them fight it out, and then defeat the final winner, Gochuk, to claim the flower. He recalls that Gochuk, the heir of the Serpent Dragon sect, became a peak master in just half a year. Hwarin concludes that the demonic poison stone flower is the perfect ingredient for his own martial arts. He smirks, acknowledging that since the Tianzong arts are ultimately demonic, the flower is a perfect match. His plan set, he calmly takes a sip of tea, ready to face the unexpected challenge. Despite the news, Hwarin declares they will proceed to Mount Seven Sages, shocking his master. Mo-byung protests, pointing out the danger from demonic masters, but he coolly frames it as a convenient route. He presents a new excuse, suggesting the Jaegol clan is surely involved, making it a perfect opportunity to meet them. Utterly defeated by his relentless logic, Mo-byung slumps over the table in frustration. She reluctantly agrees, but sternly warns that they must retreat from any enemy they cannot handle. Her concern then shifts as she asks about their two bodyguards, the rising Ghost Blades. The scene reveals the two men are already passed out drunk, completely oblivious. Hwarin gestures helplessly, as if to say there's nothing to be done about their condition. He flashes a confident grin, promising her that he will avoid any truly dangerous martial artists. Deciding to use the inn as a temporary base, Hwarin leads his party into the courtyard. He inwardly acknowledges that the region is pandemonium, and he is currently too weak to head in directly. He laughs devilishly to himself, convinced that the true winner is always the one who has the last laugh. Hwarin gives his companions their orders: investigate Serpent Dragon sect inns, and find one with few customers but many horses. He thinks about his target, Gochuk, the young leader of the Serpent Dragon sect, who will definitely be fighting for the flower. Hwarin deduces that Gochuk's forces will require a large stable to move quickly after the battle. He reasons that even after getting the flower, Gochuk will stop at a clan-run inn, and finding him there first is the key to obtaining the prize. His plan set, the party arrives before a large inn that will serve as their base of operations. With unwavering confidence, Hwarin steeples his fingers, certain that if they wait here, Gochuk will come to them. As dusk falls, The inn bustles with the activity of numerous travelers and martial artists. Hworin and Jungwook stand on a balcony, quietly observing the busy courtyard below. Namwook joins them, asking what has captured their attention so intently. Jungwook points excitedly toward the courtyard, urgently identifying an arriving man for the young master. The man is revealed to be Gochuk, the imposing and weathered young sect leader of the Serpent Dragon sect. What? Gochuk's men react with surprise as their leader's gaze fixes on Hworin's group above. Hworin is stunned by this unexpected turn of events, wondering why Gochuk isn't at Mount Seven Sages. He watches in alarm as Gochuk arrives not alone, but with a large contingent of followers. A subordinate whispers something to Gochuk, who listens with an annoyed expression. Hworin strains from the balcony, frustrated that he's too far away to overhear their conversation. Gochuk's expression darkens with rage as he glares at his subordinate. He erupts in fury, shouting orders at his men with a booming voice. Gochuk commands his men to gather the sect's elite forces, the 8 sword and 8 slashers, to give chase. Jungwook explains these are the sect's strongest fighters, noting Gochuk yelled so loudly he heard every word. With grim determination, Hworin tells his companions to get ready, declaring they will follow them. Yong rushes to him in disbelief, protesting that chasing a demonic sect is far too dangerous. She desperately asks why he insists on throwing himself into increasingly perilous situations. Hworin explains that an item called the Dragonflower Sword will soon throw the Jianghu into chaos, and they must get stronger to survive. As he tries to justify seeking the flower, Yong angrily interrupts, insisting they are strong enough without it. With his eyes shadowed, Hworin coldly corrects her, stating that they are, in fact, weak. He challenges her, asking if she truly lacks desire for such power, admitting that no true martial artist could be uninterested. A tense silence falls as they stand face to face, the wind swirling around them. He passionately declares his dream. He will obtain the flower to grow stronger and protect their clan from any threat. He looks her in the eye, telling Master Mo that if she believes in him as the heir, she must follow his command. Stunned, Yong reflects on how the once helpless young master has completely transformed. A single tear forms, as she questions whether she has failed to see him as the adult he has now become. Ha 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 ha. Jungwook lets out a hearty laugh, thoroughly impressed by the clan heir's noble pledge. Jungwook and Namwook formally introduce themselves and salute, vowing to follow the young clan leader's command. Yong watches them, her expression unreadable, as she silently processes his impassioned speech. After a moment of contemplation, she finally bows her head and agrees to follow his will. However, she raises a hand to deliver one final solemn warning. The martial world is not to be taken lightly. He gives a silent, determined nod, acknowledging her counsel and accepting the weight of his decision. With his party behind him, Hworin gives the order to set forth. He thinks to himself that he knows what's coming, because he has experienced it before. Their party looks down from a high vantage point at a large gathering in the valley below. Hworin recognizes the crowd as members of the Serpent Dragon sect. Hidden in the bushes, he notes the surprisingly large number of sect members present. The view widens to reveal a massive army assembled in formation, startling one of Hworin's companions. Namwook identifies the forces as Gochuk and the Serpent Dragon sect, who are forming the inescapable net formation. Jungwook reacts with alarm, and Namwook asks if it's time for them to move. Hworin smirks, deciding to wait since the sect's main squad is holding back, likely to ambush whoever has the miracle medicine. He decides they should wait for the right timing, as they spot a lone, glowing figure being surrounded. Wah. A sudden loud cry erupts from the valley below, catching their attention. From their hiding spot, they watch the sect members close in on their target. Believing the sect has found their target, Hworin tells his group to move to the river, confusing Jungwook. Hworin explains that someone on the run would choose to escape via water rather than the woods. The scene shifts to a quiet, flowing river at sunset. As they wait by the now silent river, Hworin warns them to be stealthy, and Yong nervously gulps. A wounded man stumbles through the river, desperately calling for help. He collapses near the bank, his plea for help growing weaker. Hworin's group watches in surprise as the unexpected figure appears. A powerful purple aura suddenly erupts from the fallen man. Wreathed in demonic energy, the man rises, revealing his hidden power. Jungwook recognizes the man, wondering if he's the infamous flying demonic blood lion. Yong asks Hworin about the man's ominous aura, and he confirms he's one of the top 100 experts of the demonic scene. A vision of the flying demonic bloodlion, standing before his demonic sect, reinforces his high rank. Hwarin observes the man's flickering aura, noting that he seems to be in a weakened state. The man reveals the demonic poisonstone flower, and Hwarin realizes he was the one who had it all along. Suddenly, dozens of golden energy beams erupt from the water, trapping the demonic master. Gochuk and his serpent dragon sect forces appear on the opposite riverbank. The demonic master finds himself completely surrounded by Gochuk's men. Gochuk taunts his quarry, impressed that the flying demonic bloodlion killed his elite troops and still escaped. The flying demonic bloodlion laughs defiantly, blaming the Tang clan for being cornered by such weaklings. Enraged, he unleashes his power, screaming that he would have ripped them to pieces otherwise. Hwarin clenches his fist, muttering the demonic master's name to himself. Gochuk reveals a rectangular weapon, asking the demonic master if he recognizes it. The flying demonic bloodlion is stunned, identifying the weapon as the Thousand Needle Downpour. Gochuk boasts that acquiring the expensive weapon was well worth the cost. To the demonic master's horror, dozens more sect members appear, all armed with the same weapon. The sect members take aim, ready to unleash a coordinated volley. The flying demonic bloodlion roars in defiance, refusing to fall to such inferior weapons. As he gathers his demonic energy, Gochuk gives the command to fire. A massive volley of explosive projectiles fills the air. The demonic master erects a powerful barrier of purple energy to defend himself. His demonic power coalesces into a protective shield around him. Hwarin watches intently from the sidelines, sensing the demonic master has a plan. The demonic master's energy seems to absorb Gochuk's men, pulling them into his aura. He unleashes a powerful counterattack, and Gochuk is shocked that he still has so much chi left. The flying demonic bloodlion laughs triumphantly, mocking his opponents as nothing compared to him. Unfazed, Gochuk commands his second serpent dragon squad to open fire. Kuwa! The demonic master is consumed by a massive explosion from the second volley. A member of the serpent dragon sect yells victoriously that the flying demonic bloodlion has fallen. An enraged Gochuk orders his elite forces to kill the demonic master and seize the miracle medicine. The flying demonic bloodlion unleashes his power, violently cutting down the attacking sect members. Wounded and kneeling in the water, he laughs defiantly, taunting that they will never find the miracle medicine. With a final, desperate roar, he vows to drag them all to hell with him. He unleashes a massive, swirling vortex of pink and purple demonic energy. In a furious last stand, he tears through the Serpent Dragon sect's forces with brutal efficiency. The demonic master cuts down another sect member in a bloody spray. From their hiding spot, Yong watches the gruesome slaughter with a disturbed expression. She remarks that she has never witnessed such a horrifying bloodbath before. Turning to Hwarin, she notes that he must be new to the brutal world of the Jianghu. She wonders how he can remain so calm while he stares intently, his expression unreadable. Ku finally succumbing to his wounds, the flying demonic bloodlion collapses. He floats lifelessly in the blood-red river, completely surrounded by the surviving sect members. Gochuk orders his men to search the body, but they report that the miracle medicine is gone. Furious, Gochuk screams that he saw the man with it and orders them to find it immediately. As the sect scrambles to search the area, Hwarin tells his party to follow him, and they quickly depart. Leaping through the trees, Hwarin explains that the medicine isn't on the body and he knows where it is. Yong looks back in disbelief, asking if he's serious. Hwarin states confidently that the flying demonic bloodlion must have sent it down the stream. He recalls the man's water barrier, explaining it was a poor defensive tactic. He deduces that the man only created the barrier to hide the moment he released the medicine into the current. Hwarin concludes the master's plan was to simply follow the water to retrieve it later. The group speeds downriver in pursuit of their prize. Hwarin urges them to hurry, certain the sect will soon figure out the plan as well. The demonic poisonstone flower drifts downstream, and Hwarin triumphantly shouts that he's got it. His party lands in the river, surrounding the glowing flower just as he reaches it. Hwarin holds his prize, the fabled demonic poisonstone flower, its purple energy swirling in his hand. He asks Jungwook, now holding the flower, to wait a moment. Hwarin prepares a small box and a vial of purple liquid. He pulls out an ordinary lily, explaining that it is poison. He lectures that it's not good for an orthodox martial artist to be seen carrying such a thing. However, he declares poison is a useful tool, coating the lily with the liquid to create a convincing decoy. Hwarin explains the fake won't fool them for long, but it will create the distraction they need to escape. Jungwook expresses disbelief that they acquired the treasure so easily after watching others die for it. Hwarin smiles, saying they were just lucky, but his grin turns sinister as he tells them to get going. Suddenly, a ghostly apparition of the flying demonic blood lion materializes behind him. The entire party turns, their faces contorted in shock and terror at the unexpected specter. A title card identifies the prize they fought for, the demonic poison stone flower. The enraged spirit of the flying demonic blood lion roars that the flower is his. Hwarin repeats his order to leave, a tense smile masking his sudden unease. The title card for the demonic poison stone flower appears again, emphasizing its importance. The furious spirit of the demonic master appears again, staking his claim on the flower while Hwarin's party looks on. Mo Byung yells a warning as Hwarin realizes in horror that the flying demonic blood lion is there. Hwarin is blasted back by a powerful, unseen force. He is sent crashing hard into the dirt on the riverbank. His companions rush towards him, shouting his name in alarm as dust and debris settle. The real flying demonic blood lion stands over them, holding the decoy and calling them greedy rats. He crushes the fake flower, revealing he had planned to absorb the real one slowly. He declares that since he was forced to use his life essence as true chi, he will now tear them all apart and replenish his power with their blood. Mo Byung watches in terror, trapped by the demonic master's overwhelming purple energy. Her hand trembles as she grips her sword, realizing this is the first time she has ever fought an opponent so overwhelmingly stronger than herself. Huff huff. Her eye widens in panic as beads of sweat form on her face. A memory flashes of the flying demonic blood lion's vicious, unstoppable assault. She recalls his flurry of attacks, each one impossibly fast and deadly. The terror of certain death washes over her as she stares down at her blade. In a moment of reflection, she remembers that she has always been one to act without thinking. She recalls how this impulsiveness earned her the title of Ghostblade. As she touches Namwook's shoulder, she remembers him and Jungwook introducing themselves as the two rising ghost blades. She recalls Jungwook's solemn vow as a warrior of the Tianzhong clan to protect the young leader. With unwavering resolve, he had sworn to defeat the flying demonic blood lion. Snapping back to the present, Mo Byung screams a warning that he's too strong for them. Ignoring her plea, Namwook tells Jungwook to do what must be done with the dragon flower sword. Hwarin smirks, reminding them that their opponent just consumed poison. Mo Byung realizes with a jolt that the young clan leader replaced the flower with a poisoned decoy. Namwook assesses their foe's condition, wounded, drained of life energy, and now poisoned, concluding they have a chance if they can stall. With grim determination, Jungwook and Namwook advance on the demonic master, declaring it's time. Jungwook leaps into action, unleashing a powerful sword strike as he yells, "They will attack first." His attack hurtles towards the flying demonic blood lion. The demonic master laughs, commending them for their foolish courage in not running away. His hand crackles with malevolent red energy. He effortlessly shatters their attack with a flick of his hand, declaring their efforts futile. He unleashes a massive wave of red energy, bearing down on the two warriors. Jungwook and Namwook brace themselves against the crushing force, preparing to unleash their Soaring Dragon Emperor sword technique. A powerful golden aura erupts from behind them. A new power is unleashed. Heavenly Lightning Ascension. A bolt of divine lightning strikes the demonic master, sent by Hwarin. Roaring in pain and fury, the flying demonic blood lion screams, "You brat!" He glares with pure rage at his unexpected attacker. Hwarin, now cloaked in lightning, engages the demonic master in a blindingly fast clash. The party watches from a distance as their now cautious foe retreats slightly. The flying demonic blood lion stumbles, coughing up a spray of blood. He stares at his hand in shock, realizing he's been poisoned. He wonders if the Tang clan poisoned him, but quickly dismisses the idea, knowing their poison would have killed him instantly. That means he turns his gaze back towards the forest, the truth dawning on him. He spots Hwarin's party standing together, confirming his suspicion. Enraged at their deception, he seethes, "You dare play such a trick on me." Cough. He doubles over, bowing through a bloody snarl to grind their bones into dust. Watching him falter, Yong notes that Warren was right. Their opponent is at his limit. Her hope is renewed as she realizes they can win if they just hold on a little longer. Warren pants heavily, the strain of his technique taking its toll. The flying demonic bloodlion recovers, his expression hardening with renewed fury. He can't believe he would fall, not to the Tang clan or the Serpent Dragon sect, but to a group of nameless nobodies. The thought is simply impossible to accept. His eye glows red as he realizes Hwarin, the one he sent flying, must have the real demonic poison stone flower. He vows to take the flower back even if he must tear it from Hwarin's stomach and drink the juices. He lunges forward in a blur, and Young screams a warning as Hwarin raises his sword to defend. Hwarin desperately blocks the demonic master's relentless assault. With a determined cry, Hwarin uses his shifting step technique to evade and counter the attack. Fists wreathed in demonic energy collide in a brutal, bone-shattering impact. The flying demonic bloodlion's raw power sends Hwarin hurtling backward through the air. With Hwarin momentarily disabled, the demonic master turns his deadly attention toward Young. Trapped by his oppressive aura, Young realizes with dawning horror that she cannot dodge the attack. At the last second, Jungwook leaps in front of her, his sword deflecting the fatal blow. Pushed to his limit, Jungwook grits his teeth and screams out for the young clan leader. Cough. Elsewhere, Hwarin struggles to recover from the blow, spitting up blood. He collapses to his knees, utterly battered and drained by the overwhelming assault. Hwarin realizes, with grim certainty, that the demonic master must have burned his own life essence to pursue him. He knows he has to get up and move, but the will to act isn't enough. Huff huff. Frustrated, he finds his exhausted body simply refuses to obey his commands. He recalls his past confidence, knowing that his knowledge from his previous life was unparalleled in all of Jianghu. Lying defeated, he scoffs at his own arrogance, lamenting how his overconfidence has led to his downfall. He touches his forehead, his eyes widening as his fingers come away stained with blood. A sinister red energy begins to swirl from the wound, creeping across his face. A malevolent voice echoes in his mind, demanding that he hand over his body. Give me the body. The entity roars, its crimson aura erupting violently from Hwarin. His eyes glowing red, Hwarin acknowledges that he was vaguely aware of this power lurking within him. He understands now that it's the very same energy he saw from the mysterious old man just before he regressed. He remembers using this forbidden power against Instructor Mo, and realizes it could defeat the flying demonic bloodlion. As phantom hands reach for him, the entity whispers its demand again, tempting him to give up his body. Gritting his teeth, Hwarin feels the foreign power actively trying to seize control of him. He closes his eyes, knowing he faces a critical choice that will define him. His eye snaps open, blazing with red light as he questions if he will truly rely on this power again. Get a grip, young Hwarin, he snarls, fighting to regain control and questioning his reliance on this unknown force. As the voice again demands his body, Hwarin roars in defiance. Shut up! He clenches his fist, asserting with absolute conviction that this body is his alone. I am its owner, he declares, forcefully rejecting the entity's influence. He dismisses the inner voice as nothing more than a powerless phantom from the past. With newfound resolve, he vows that he will be the one to protect the people dear to him. His determination reignited, he surges to his feet and sprints back toward the battle. He returns to the fight with a brilliant flash, his energy exploding outward. Now empowered, Hwarin intercepts the attack meant for his companion with a furious slash. His blade flashes through the air, cleanly severing the flying demonic bloodlion's hand at the wrist. Urgh! The demonic master howls in agony and rage as he's blasted backwards, screaming, "You damned brat!" He stares in utter disbelief, his face a mask of shock and fury. Wreathed in the same crimson power, Hwarin is now mistaken for a demonic master himself. Clutching his severed wrist, the flying demonic bloodlion stammers, asking how Hwarin possesses that energy. Bleared, the poison finally overwhelms him, and he doubles over, vomiting blood. Young watches, recognizing the ominous energy as the same one from before. Jungwook and Namwook arrive just in time, with Jungwook praising the young clan leader's perfect timing. Young explains their foe is poisoned and his life essence is nearly spent, giving them a clear advantage. As the demonic master falters, Hwarin calmly predicts that his enemy will soon collapse. Taking full command, Hwarin announces that he is now issuing his first order as the heir of the clan. He stands before his party, sword raised and aura blazing, ready to lead them in the final attack. His companions bow in unison, accepting his command as their new leader. Hwarin and the flying demonic bloodlion lock eyes in a final, tense confrontation. The demonic master looks to the sky, a strange green aura now glowing from his chest. He remains completely baffled, admitting that he still cannot comprehend how he was defeated. Facing Hwarin's party from across the river, he cryptically states that from now on, this is their problem. The flying demonic bloodlion stands defiant, declaring that he will forfeit his own survival for this last fight. Across the river, Hwarin's party watches with grim and focused expressions. Wreathed in purple energy, the demonic master questions how a mere boy could possess his power. He challenges Hwarin to struggle as much as he can, unleashing a swirling torrent of energy. The party braces for the impact as the chaotic energy roils the water before them. In a final, blinding flash of light, the flying demonic bloodlion falls from the sky. Hwarin and his companions are also sent tumbling through the air by the blast. Elsewhere, Gochuk, the leader of the serpent dragon sect, curses in frustration. Leaping through the forest, he's stunned that the demonic master would burn his own life essence. He and his subordinates race towards the site of the battle. Arriving at a devastated clearing, they recognize the aftermath of the bloodlion arts. A subordinate reports to his young sect leader, Gochuk, that they have found their target. Gochuk and his men land in the cratered battlefield. They surround the corpse of the flying demonic bloodlion, confirming his death. Gochuk immediately demands to know the whereabouts of the flower. His subordinate hesitates, sweating nervously as he prepares to deliver bad news. Enraged, Gochuk threatens to execute the man if he reports that the flower is missing. The subordinate confirms the flower is gone, and Gochuk seethes, "You fucking..." Heek, the furious leader, raises his sword to strike down his subordinate. He glares down at the terrified man, his blade ready. Spinning around, Gochuk angrily demands to know who fought the flying demonic bloodlion. He scans the empty, ravaged landscape for any clue. He roars in fury, realizing someone else has stolen the demonic poison stone flower. The scene shifts to a quiet path, deeper in the woods. Yong and Hwarin ride away at high speed. The rest of their party flees through the trees, making a swift escape. Jungwook laughs triumphantly, scarcely believing they actually defeated the flying demonic bloodlion. Yong questions Hwarin about his cryptic final words to their enemy. Hwarin quietly reflects on their narrow escape from death. He explains that if their foe had fallen even a moment later, they all would have died. Jungwook agrees it was a close call, but declares that in the end, the survivors are the strong ones. Hwarin notes the demonic master was just one of many powerful foes, and he knew it, which is why he gave it his all. Hwarin clenches his teeth, coughing up blood from his injuries. Riding with him, Yong asks with concern if he is alright. He forces a smile, acknowledging that things aren't as easy as they seem after such a brutal fight. Hwarin somberly states that any one of them could have died, but his vow to protect his clan and family from all harm is absolute. He tells Yong that his promise was not just a string of empty words. Gripping her robe, he admits that while their path will be difficult, he will face the risk. He declares that Instructor Mo and the two rising ghost blades must become stronger, and Namwook readily agrees. Yong turns to Hwarin, insisting there's something else he must explain. She confronts him, asking about the ominous chi he unleashed during the battle. Jungwook chimes in, remembering the strange energy as well. He recalls with a sweat drop that Hwarin's power felt even more sinister than the demonic master's. Memory flashes of the violent crimson energy that erupted from Hwarin. Yong bluntly asks a shocked Hwarin if he has learned demonic arts. Hwarin deflects the question, saying he'll explain later and reminding them they just escaped with their lives. Yong shouts back, demanding to know what he could possibly hide after they all risked death together. She grabs his arm, her expression softening with concern as she calls his title. With a bloody and sinister smile, Hwarin agrees they all risked their lives and promises that when the time comes, they will be the first to know his secrets. Hwarin, Yong, and Namwook ride hard, finally feeling a moment of relief. Cough, cough. The relief is short-lived as Hwarin is racked by a violent coughing fit. Yong notices Hwarin's condition and urges him to go to the Jaegol clan for a physician. Wiping blood from his mouth, Huaren refuses, saying Gochu's serpent dragon sect is still hunting them and it would be too dangerous. He decides they will head to Mount Wudang instead, where he has heard a skilled physician resides. Yong questions his knowledge, and Huaren confirms what he's heard about the mountain. Their destination is revealed: the majestic, cloud-shrouded Mount Wudang. The scene blurs, signaling their swift journey towards the mountain. Elsewhere on the mountain, a white cat named Baxiol leaps gracefully through the air. A young man frantically chases after it, shouting for Baxiol to wait and warning that the mountain is dangerous. Carrying a basket of herbs, he desperately pleads for the speeding cat to stop. Baxiol suddenly halts, its fur standing on end as it stares into the woods with wide, startled eyes. The young man catches up, noticing his cat has stopped near a thicket of bushes. Gotcha. He happily snatches up the mischievous cat. Erg. Arr. Holding his cat, he's startled by pained groans coming from the nearby woods. Peeking through the leaves, he discovers Huaren and his companions, collapsed and grievously wounded. We finally found a person. Huaren, bloody and weeping with relief, reaches out to the boy. The boy and his cat stare back in matching expressions of pure, unadulterated shock. The scene shifts to a quaint, thatch-roofed house nestled in the woods. Flying, demonic bloodline Huaren jolts awake from a nightmare, shouting his enemy's name. He looks at his own hands, bewildered, and trying to grasp his surroundings. Realizing his wounds have been treated, he wonders where he could possibly be. The young man he met in the forest appears in the doorway, seeing that Huaren is finally awake. He explains that he found Huaren badly hurt and brought him to the small clinic he and his grandfather run. He tells Huaren to rest while he prepares some medicine. Huaren asks if the boy's grandfather is He Dugong, and the boy confirms that he is. Huaren looks at him intently, asking if his name is He Chilryong. Startled, He Chilryong asks how the stranger could possibly know his name. Huaren clenches his blanket, realizing his true reason for coming to Mount Wudang is now before him. He reflects that this boy is the key to completing the unstable martial arts of the Tianzhong clan. A flashback shows the stern face of a clan leader. Huaren recalls a vision of the boy's future, standing celebrated before a massive crowd. A title card anoints him, the One Supreme, He Chilryong. The memory continues, showing a fierce and widespread battle from the past. It was a massive war, involving the unorthodox, demonic, and 5 great clans. Countless hands reached desperately for a single, glowing tome. The conflict was a fight on an unprecedented scale. The narration explains the tome introduced a revolutionary concept, that good and evil coexist within every human. This radical idea was left behind by Zhang Sanfeng, the ascended progenitor of the Wudang sect. The coveted prize is named the Yin-Yang Depth Heaven Tome. Huaren remembers that in his past life, this child's family found the tome by accident while gathering herbs. With that tome, He Chilryong became the strongest man under the heavens. Huaren knows the tome holds the secrets to both good and evil, and obtaining it will fulfill his family's dream. As He Chilryong works, Huaren muses on the fact that this unsuspecting child will become the future's strongest martial artist. He finds it amusing, having expected a much more dramatic first meeting. A fly buzzes annoyingly around the focused He Chilryong's head. The fly lands brazenly on his cheek. With a sudden, explosive movement, He Chilryong lunges to catch the tiny insect. He proudly holds out his fist, seemingly having captured his target with lightning speed, but the fly remains perfectly still on his cheek, completely unfazed by his dramatic attempt. As Huaren watches from his bed, He Chilryong makes another comically clumsy attempt to catch the fly. Huaren's eyes narrow, recognizing a specific technique hidden within the boy's seemingly random hand motion. Surprised, Huaren asks He Chilryong if he has been learning martial arts. He Chilryong smiles innocently, explaining that his grandpa taught him the move. As the boy leaves, Huaren stares after him in disbelief, wondering how he could know such a skill. An old man appears in the doorway, pleased to see that Huaren is finally awake. Huaren's eyes widen as he recognizes the renowned physician, He Dugong. The scene shifts to an idyllic view of the physician's peaceful homestead nestled in the mountains. Outside, Yong calls out as Huaren joins his now recovered companions. Huaren introduces himself as the heir of the Tianzhong clan and formally thanks He Dugong for treating them. He Dugong humbly dismisses their thanks, stating that as a physician, it's simply his duty. Curious, he asks what brings members of the distant Henan Tianzhong clan to Mount Wudang. Huaren and his companions exchange a silent, uncertain look before he prepares his answer. Putting on a bright smile, Huaren claims he's just there to find some ginseng. He Dugong notes that while he has medicinal herbs, ginseng is not something one finds so easily. His expression, turning serious, the old physician asks Huaren what he needs it for. With tears welling in his eyes, Huaren begins a sob story about his ill mother and his own sickly childhood. He claims he just received word of his mother's grave illness and that ginseng is rumored to be the only cure. He finishes his performance by explaining he tripped while climbing the mountain to find it. Yong listens with a skeptical expression, knowing Huaren's mother was perfectly healthy when they left. She quietly questions the young clan leader, worried what will happen if his lie is exposed. The old physician is moved to tears, completely fooled by Huaren's heartfelt plea. Declaring Huaren a true son, He Dugong announces he is touched by his devotion to his parents. Fired up, the physician declares he'll help them find wild ginseng and immediately rushes off. Huaren smirks victoriously, his devious plan having worked perfectly. His companions can only stare in disbelief at their leader's masterful acting. Yong sighs, admitting that she initially thought he was lying about looking for ginseng. But seeing him groveling on the ground, she starts to believe he might be serious about his search. Still on the ground, Huaren breaks character and orders Instructor Mo to stop standing around and start looking. He thinks to himself that he must find the yin-yang depth, then quickly corrects his thought to ginseng for my mother. A determined glint in his eye, Huaren focuses on his true objective. His companions reluctantly scatter into the woods to begin the search. The sun begins to set over the majestic mountain range, signaling the end of a long day. He Dugong returns, announcing that they must unfortunately head back for the day. Defeated, Huaren and his party trudge along, exhausted from their fruitless search. As dusk settles, the group returns to the small thatch-roofed house. Huaren sighs in frustration, realizing that knowing the future doesn't make achieving his goals any easier. He Dugong promises to send ginseng to the Tianzhong clan if he ever finds some on his own. Huaren politely accepts the offer with a respectful bow. He pauses for a moment. Stealing his resolve, Huaren apologizes, then asks if he and his party could stay for a few more days to continue their search. He makes his request with a firm, unwavering gaze. A closed door indicates that his request was granted, and they have settled in for the night. Inside, Huaren meditates, a dark red aura swirling around him as he gathers his thoughts. He resolves to search the places He Dugong frequents, certain he'll find clues related to the tome there. He breathes a sigh of relief, knowing this lead will save him years of searching. The next morning, He Dugong steps outside, surprised to find Huaren already waiting on the porch. Huaren respectfully bows and wishes the physician a good morning. The old man holds his herbs, looking down at Huaren, who sits patiently on the steps. He Dugong smiles, asking if Huaren plans to join him for his hike again today. Huaren politely declines the physician's company, insisting he will search by himself today, and He Dugong agrees. The two sit in comfortable silence on the porch, gazing out at the peaceful morning. Huaren asks where Chilryong has gone, a question He Dugong quietly echoes. Just then, He Chilryong sprints into the courtyard, desperately clutching Bakesol the cat. Huff huff. He comes to a halt, wide-eyed and panting with exhaustion and fear. Huaren and He Dugong approach, asking what happened and if he ran into a tiger. He Chilryong explains he was chasing Bakesol when some men tried to capture the cat, forcing him to flee. He clarifies that martial artists on the mountain tried to take Bakesol, and He Dugong realizes they must have recognized the cat as a mystic animal. Suddenly, a group of armed martial artists appears in the distance, shouting, "There it is!" A young woman in a fine red dress, flanked by guards, demands that He Chilryong sell her his cat. He Chilryong shouts back defiantly that Bakesol is absolutely not for sale. The woman smirks with annoyance, insisting she will pay handsomely for the animal. As He Chilryong shouts, "No!" again, Huaren's companions emerge to see what the commotion is about. The two groups face off in the courtyard, with He Chilryong and his cat caught in the middle. He Dugong steps forward, apologizing but firmly explaining that Bakesol is family and will not be sold. The woman scoffs, claiming they're lucky she's asking politely instead of just taking the cat by force. Hwoaran observes the woman's arrogance, noting that she reminds him of someone, his own arrogant self from his past life. Hwoaran steps in, calmly telling the woman it's wrong to demand something that is not for sale. One of her guards immediately draws his blade, warning Hwoaran to back off and questioning if he knows who she is. Hwoaran stands his ground, unimpressed, and asks who they are to be making such threats. The guard proudly announces that they are from the prestigious Jaegul clan. He reveals that the woman is the youngest daughter of the Jaegul clan's head. Hwoaran's eyes widen in shock as he processes this new information. He realizes with a shock that this must be Jaegul Yohei, the younger sister of his own fiancée. It all clicks for Hwoaran, who now understands the bodyguard's bold behavior. Hwoaran's party watches the tense standoff as he formally greets the lady of the Jaegul clan. The guard aggressively asks Hwoaran for his affiliation. Namwook steps forward to confront the guard, retorting that he's too bold for a mere bodyguard. Namwook fiercely declares they are from the Henentian clan, creating a tense face-off. Hwoaran quickly intervenes, claiming they are simply visitors to Mount Wudang. The two groups stand opposite each other, the tension thick in the air. HMPH Jaegul Yohei scoffs, refusing to speak with anyone unwilling to state their true affiliation. She turns her attention back to Heir, stepping toward him to offer two options. Leaning in close, she presents her ultimatum: take the money for the cat, or she will take it by force. Heir clutches Baxiol defensively as Jaegul Yohei's hand reaches for the cat. He looks up, startled, as a different hand gently pats the cat's head. The hand belongs to Hwoaran, who has stepped between them and gestures subtly to Heir. Hwoaran begins to speak, a clever plan forming in his mind. With a confident smile, he tells Heir that he will create a distraction for them. He gives a charming wink, telling the boy to throw the cat on a signal. Heir understands and hugs his very unamused cat, preparing to follow the plan. Hwoaran turns to Jaegul Yohei, smoothly announcing that there is a third option. She turns, confused, just as Heir makes his move. Fling. Heir tosses Baxiol high into the air, much to Jaegul Yohei's surprise. The startled cat sails through the air as everyone below watches in shock. Jaegul Yohei shouts "No!" and lunges for the cat, but Hwoaran quickly steps in to block her path. Furious, she whirls on him, demanding to know how he dares get in her way. Hwoaran coolly points out that since the cat ran away, she is free to catch it, and the boy can't complain. Jaegul Yohei seethes in frustration, realizing she's been outmaneuvered. Furious, Jaegul Yohei points and orders her men to go capture the runaway cat. Hwoaran and Heir share a triumphant thumbs up as a fuming Jaegul Yohei is left behind. Later, Hwoaran's companions emerge from the woods, exhausted and covered in leaves after a fruitless search. The Jaegul clan guards return to their lady, admitting with disappointment that they lost the cat. Jaegul Yohei furiously asks how her warriors couldn't catch a single cat, while Namwook explains it's no ordinary feline but a mystic animal. Turning to his men, Hwoaran declares that he will go to the Wudang sect and capture the animal himself. Yong informs Hwoaran that the girl is likely Jaegul Yohei, whose demeanor has earned her the nickname Jaegul Witch. However, she adds that Jaegul Yohei is also a genius who surpassed her peers to become a vice division leader. Yong suggests that it would be best for them to hide their identities for the time being. Hwoaran agrees, thoughtfully noting they can't predict how she will react to them. He gazes at the mountains, reminding his companion they still have their own objective to find on Mount Wudang. As Hwoaran and his party prepare to leave, a dejected Heir watches them go. Hwoaran kneels down, asking the boy if he's worried about Baxiol, and Heir sadly confirms he is. Hwoaran pats his head, reassuring him that they will never be able to catch the cat. He offers a kind and genuine smile to comfort the worried boy. Watching the tender moment, Yong reflects that Hwoaran has truly changed. The scene shifts to a peaceful moonlit night over the mountain homestead. Heir arrives with 2 large barrels of liquor, thanking Hwoaran's men for their help. He offers them his special medicinal liquor, but Namwook and his companion blush and politely try to refuse. The old physician insists with a hearty smile, waving off their refusal. Glug, glug, glug! He grabs one of the men and forces the liquor on him with overwhelming hospitality. Yong watches from the doorway as her companions happily chug from the large mugs, encouraged by Hei Dakgong. As they finish, Hei Dugong enthusiastically tells them to wait while he brings even more. Mo Byung quietly walks away from the boisterous scene. She glances back with a small knowing smile. A peaceful night sky shines over the mountains, dotted with stars and a bright full moon. Later, Mo Byung finds Hwarin and Hei Chol-ryung in the courtyard with wooden sticks and wonders if they are fighting. She notices the boy's proper stance and realizes he must have been trained in martial arts. Hei Chol-ryung leaps into the air and strikes down at Hwarin. Hwarin stands ready, his own stick glowing with a subtle blue energy. With a swift, glowing arc, he easily parries the boy's attack. Stunned, Mo Byung wonders what she just witnessed. She marvels that the young boy knows martial arts and that Hwarin used his azure bamboo sword technique to defend himself. As Mo Byung watches from afar, Hwarin smiles at the beaming Hei Chol-ryung, acknowledging that this is truly extraordinary. The next morning, Hwarin stretches lazily in the sun, his eyes flash with surprise as he spots an unexpected visitor. Seeing Jaegul Yohei and her guards have returned, Hwarin calls out to her. Jaegul Yohei stands with her arms crossed, looking thoroughly unimpressed. Hwarin wishes her a good morning, but she curtly replies that it's not good at all. With a clenched fist and a determined glare, Jaegul Yohei vows to capture the cat herself. Hwarin smiles pleasantly and asks why she isn't continuing her search for it then. She states that she has other duties but promises she will definitely return to catch the cat. Hwarin cheerfully waves goodbye as she and her entourage begin to leave. Jaegul Yohei stops, suddenly realizing she never learned his identity, and turns to demand what sect he is from. Hwarin casually claims he belongs to a small, unknown sect from Hainan. HMPH scowling. She turns and walks away, clearly not believing him. Hwarin watches her go, hoping he won't have to deal with her when he visits the Jaegul clan. As her party departs, Jaegul Yohei seethes, knowing that he is lying to her. She clenches her teeth, wondering how a mere small sect could produce a warrior with so much chi. She recalls his powerful aura and his formidable companions, convinced he is far more than he seems. Furious, Jaegul Yohei orders her men to investigate Hwarin's group, demanding to know their clan, background, and martial arts. Her guards shout their assent as Jaegul Yohei glares from behind her fan, vowing to uncover the truth. The scene shifts as Hwarin wanders alone through a sun-dappled forest path. He pauses his search to watch a pair of rabbits, a moment of peace amidst his quest. Hwarin wades into a cool, sparkling pond to refresh himself after a long day of searching. He sits overlooking the vast mountain valley, continuing his hunt for the tome. Sigh. After days of fruitless searching, Hwarin looks weary and discouraged. Standing on a windswept cliff, he laments that he still hasn't found a single clue. As the sun begins to set, he feels the pressure of another day slipping away. His eyes gleam with resolve as he decides he cannot stay here forever and must make a choice. Back at the homestead, Hwarin gathers his companions with a serious announcement. He informs his party that they will leave as soon as their preparations are complete. Namwook eagerly agrees, itching for action, while Mo Byung calmly accepts the decision to pack. As Hwarin's party begins to depart, they walk away from the small house. Hwarin watches them go, but a figure suddenly sprints toward him from the distance. It's Hei Chol-ryung, running desperately and shouting for help. Huff huff. The boy doubles over, exhausted, as Hwarin asks him what happened. Crying, Hei Chol-ryung explains his fear that Baeksul must have gotten hurt. He opens his hands to reveal a small tuft of white fur stained with blood. Hwarin's expression darkens as he realizes Jaegul Yohei's men have relentlessly pursued and injured the cat. The boy explains that Baeksul should have returned by now, confirming his fears that the cat is badly injured. Hwarin turns away, his mind racing as he considers this new development. He asks Hei Chol-ryung if he knows where Baeksul's territory is, a term that confuses the boy. Hwarin clarifies, asking where he first met the cat, triggering a memory of a dark, forested place. The boy's face lights up with understanding, and he tearfully nods that he knows the spot. Hwarin offers to help, surprising Hei Chol-ryung, who looks up with hopeful eyes. With a kind smile, Hwarin says that since Baeksul is family, he will naturally help him. Overcome with gratitude, Hei Chol-ryung throws his arms around Hwarin in a tight hug. The boy points the way, exclaiming that the place they need to go is over there. Now carrying the boy, Hwarin arrives at the base of a towering, sheer rock cliff. They head down a path into a lush, secluded gorge. Hwarin confirms with Hae Chil-ryung that the location is deep within the gorge, and the boy says yes. At the bottom of the rocky pass, they begin calling out for the missing cat. From the bushes, Hae Chil-ryung shouts that he's found something. The boy tearfully points to a smear of blood and fur on the ground. Hwarin's expression is grim, but determined as he realizes they are getting close. They continue their search deeper in the woods, calling out for Baekseol. Hwarin reassures the worried boy that the traces mean the cat is definitely nearby. They finally arrive at a clearing with a large boulder, which Hwarin identifies as the place. A wide view reveals the two standing before a massive, perfectly round stone. Feeling a faint breeze, Hwarin tells Hae Chil-ryung he suspects there's an opening behind the boulder. He tells the boy to stand back as he places his hand on the giant rock. Hwarin strains with all his might, attempting to push the boulder. Despite his efforts, the immense stone remains perfectly still. Sweating and gritting his teeth, he shouts in frustration that it's not budging at all. Realizing his current chi isn't enough, he wonders if he should call Instructor Mo for help. Just then, Hae Chil-ryung points to the side of the boulder, having found a small hole. Hwarin tries to save face by claiming his efforts created the gap, but the boy innocently corrects him. Hwarin looks annoyed, his moment of bravado instantly deflated. Peering into the dark crack, Hwarin concludes that this must be how Baekseol got through. Hwarin tells Hae Chil-ryung he'll check the dangerous passage alone, and the boy agrees. Inside, Hwarin is stunned to find a vast hidden chamber. Whoosh! A brilliant light suddenly erupts from within the darkness. Hwarin shields his eyes, taken aback by the sudden, intense glow. The light reveals a man meditating, and Hwarin wonders who it could be. Hwarin's eyes widen as he stares intently at the mysterious figure. He recognizes the yin and yang symbol on the wall behind the meditating man. Hwarin's face fills with shock as he realizes who this man must be. The legendary figure sits in deep meditation before the ancient symbol. Hwarin realizes he's finally found the Taiji Depth Heaven Tome, just as he hears a faint meow. He follows a smear of blood on the stone floor. Hwarin finds the injured Baekseol, who lets out a weak meow. Hwarin realizes the cat led him here, connecting the master, the tome, and the injured animal. Outside, a worried Hae Chil-ryung anxiously waits by the cave's entrance. He nervously calls out for Baekseol, peering into the darkness. A cascade of long, dark hair begins to emerge from the small opening. Hae Chil-ryung gasps in terror at the sudden sight. Hwarin emerges from the passage, surprising the startled boy. A tear streams down Hae Chil-ryung's face, a mix of fear and hope. Hwarin stands with a healthy-looking Baekseol in his arms, and the boy shouts the cat's name in relief. Whimper, cradling the cat. The tearful Hae Chil-ryung notes how weak she feels. Wah. The boy breaks down in tears, overwhelmed with relief and worry. Hwarin now holds the ancient tome, his quest fulfilled. He reflects on the chain of events, the master's presence, his own concern, and the cat's injury leading him here. Gritting his teeth, Hwarin recalls the immense effort it took to accomplish his goal. He walks through the now empty cave, a sense of quiet victory in the air. Kneeling down, he gently chides Baekseol, telling her how worried the boy was. He examines the cat's wound, relieved to find that it's superficial and treatable. Hwarin wonders if Baekseol is a mythical creature once raised by the legendary Jang Sambong. Cradling the cat, he decides it's time to leave so she can get proper treatment. He respectfully places the tome on the ground, intending to leave it behind. He glances back at the spiritual echo of the meditating master. The Taiji Depth Heaven Tome rests on the ground where the master had been. Hwarin holds the tome, a pivotal moment in his journey. The weeping boy realizes that if Hwarin hadn't helped him search for Baekseol, he never would have found this. Hwarin reflects that his past self would never have stopped to help a child. Looking up at the sky, he accepts that he has truly changed. He closes his eyes, acknowledging that he still has a long way to go. He resolves to make the Tianzhong clan the best in Henan, prevent its downfall, and ensure his family's happiness. His eyes gleam with unshakable resolve as he vows to make these things happen. He securely tucks the precious tome into his robes. Back at the house, Hae Dugang comforts his grandson, explaining Baekseol's injury wasn't bad and she'll heal quickly. Hwarin enters the room to face his waiting companions. His companions, led by Mo Byung, angrily demand to know where he's been. Mo Byung chides him for not notifying them, and Hwarin nervously apologizes, explaining his rush to help the cat. Hwarin announces he found the cat and what he needed, declaring it's time to leave. Mo Byung questions him, asking if he found the ginseng he was looking for. Hwarin simply states that he found something much better. Puzzled, Mo Byung wonders what could possibly be better than the mythical ginseng. With a confident smile, Hwarin answers her question with a single powerful word: a future. As Hwarin walks away with a smile, his companions look on in confusion. Hwarin faces Hei Du-gong and Hei Chil-ryong, warmly thanking the old physician for his kindness. A sad Hei Chil-ryong asks if Hwarin is truly leaving them. Kneeling, Hwarin tells the boy that if he is ever in trouble, he should bring the ornate jade plaque he's been given to the Henan Tianzong clan. Hwarin urges him not to lose it, promising it will be useful one day, and the boy agrees. Promising to see him again, Hwarin turns to join his party, who are waiting on horseback. Hwarin pauses for a moment, his expression thoughtful as he prepares to depart. Hei Du-gong reflects that even though they are simple country folk, Hwarin's group helped them without knowing who they were. Hei Du-gong and Hwarin share a moment of unspoken mutual understanding. As they watch Hwarin leave, Hei Chil-ryong quietly wonders why he helped them so much. Blushing, the boy recalls that he was initially only interested in Hwarin because of the secret technique scripture. A memory flashes of Hwarin meditating while Hei Chil-ryong and his grandfather were outside. The flashback continues with a view of Hwarin sitting alone in quiet contemplation. Hei Chil-ryong remembers walking along the porch with Baxiel the cat. He and the cat sat together in the doorway, peacefully watching the world outside. In the present, Hwarin explains his actions to his companions, admitting he helped because the boy reminds him of himself. Hwarin raises a hand in a final farewell to Hei Chil-ryong and his grandfather. Mo Byung questions Hwarin's decision to give away the jade plaque of the Tianzong clan. Hwarin smiles warmly, replying that he learned a great deal from Chil-ryong. He adds that the child is worth much more to him than any plaque. The scene shifts to a young girl sitting on a porch, enjoying the quiet sunset. Startled by a sudden "Hello," the girl turns around. Seeing Hwarin, she bows deeply and nervously declares that she will be serving him from now on. Blushing furiously, she loudly introduces herself as Yonghwa. She finishes her introduction with a formal bow, wishing the young master well. Hwarin looks on with a calm, unreadable expression. Later, Hwarin's party rides their horses through a sunlit forest trail. Mo Byung teases Hwarin about his constant smiling, and he chuckles in response. She asks if they are heading to the Jago clan, but Hwarin surprises her by saying they are going home instead. Confused, Mo Byung questions his decision to turn back when they are so close to seeing his fiancée. Hwarin calmly explains that he believes it is too soon to visit the Jago clan. Namwook suggests it's a good chance to show he is healthy, but Hwarin firmly repeats his decision to return home. The group halts abruptly as they are hit by the overwhelming stench of blood. Mo Byung points ahead, shouting that the scent is coming from that direction. Without hesitation, Hwarin spurs his horse forward into the woods. Arriving at a clearing, Hwarin curses the damned martial artist responsible for the scene. The party looks down upon a brutal massacre, shocked at the senseless killing. Gazing at the bloody aftermath, Namwook asks Hwarin what they should do. Hwarin decides they should not get involved in someone else's fight, and tells his companions to leave. The group begins to ride away, leaving the field of bodies behind them. As they depart, Hwarin rides past the carnage, but his expression grows tense. Namwook calls out to his young master, noticing that he has stopped. Hwarin turns back, admitting he can't ignore this, and Mo Byung asks what he means. His face darkens as he stares at the corpses, a terrible realization dawning on him. He reveals that the bodies belong to the guard martial artists of the Jago clan. The entire party wheels around and gallops deeper into the forest. Mo Byung shouts that she can hear the sounds of a battle happening nearby. Hwarin orders them to leave their horses and proceed on foot. Dismounting, the group hurries into the dense woods toward the conflict. As Hwarin eyes the battle, Namwook gets pumped for their second fight, eager to go. Hwarin holds him back, advising that they should observe the situation first. Namwook gives a confident smirk and agrees to his young master's plan. The party peers down into a misty clearing where two groups of warriors are locked in a tense standoff. Warren immediately recognizes Jaegil Yohei and the man standing with her. He identifies her companion as Jaegil Buke, the first son of the Jaegil patriarch. Warren notes with suspicion that he didn't see either of them on Wudang Mountain. An assassin wearing a horned, green snake mask gestures menacingly. The snake mask warrior unleashes a swift, two-pronged energy attack. The attack misses Jaegil Yohei and her brother, who narrowly dodge. A Jaegil clan elder is struck down, bleeding profusely from a slash across his chest. Jaegil Yohei cries out in horror for Uncle O as he collapses. Huff! Jaegil Yohei glares, breathless and seething with rage and exhaustion. Hwarin's expression darkens as he watches the dire situation unfold. He asks his companions if they recognize the attackers, but Mo-byung confirms they do not. Hwarin realizes their enemy's identity is still a mystery. A caption identifies the distinctive horned, green snake mask. The narration focuses on the leader's unsettling mask and his followers' white clothing. Hwarin recognizes them as the Green Blood Viper Squad, a group that will become infamous for their cruelty. A vision of a powerful, white-haired master surrounded by green energy flashes in his mind. He recalls that this master formed an assassin group symbolized by the Green Blood Viper. Hwarin's party watches on, wondering why this deadly squad is targeting the Jaegil clan. Sweating, Hwarin curses his lack of information, unable to formulate a plan. Below, the Jaegil clan's forces are being slaughtered by the assassins. Hwarin's eyes narrow as he watches the brutal massacre continue. His companions turn to him, silently asking what he plans to do. Hwarin admonishes himself for his foolishness. As he begins to walk forward, he reminds himself he has what he needs and planned to go home, not get involved. Drawing his sword, he questions his own actions, wondering why he's moving to intervene. An assassin charges forward, closing in on Jaegil Yohei. A masked warrior brings his sword down in a deadly arc towards the stunned girl. Jaegil Yohei's eye widens in pure terror as the blade descends. Jaegil Buke stares in shock as a new masked figure suddenly appears before him. Jaegil Yohei stares in utter disbelief at the man who just saved her. With his back to her, Hwarin stands defensively, having blocked the fatal blow. The leader of the Green Blood Viper Squad observes the unexpected arrival with a cold stare. The leader gives a simple, chilling order to his subordinate: kill them. An assassin lunges forward to carry out the command. Hwarin and his companions draw their weapons, ready to join the fray. Projectiles fly as the two groups clash in the forest clearing. Jaegil Buke recognizes Hwarin, expressing his shock at seeing him seemingly healthy and able to move. Hwarin greets him curtly, saying it's not the time to talk, as Jaegil Yohei watches in amazement. Jaegil Buke is stunned, wondering how Hwarin could have changed so drastically in just a year. The leader of the assassins confronts Hwarin, demanding to know who he is. Hwarin calmly claims they are merely people passing by. The leader scoffs, declaring that it doesn't matter, as they will all die there anyway. Hwarin realizes a head-on fight is unwinnable, as their side lacks numbers and the Jaegils are exhausted. He gazes at the silent, white-robed assassins, standing ready in the forest. Mo-byung steps forward resolutely, declaring that she will fight them. Ha! The leader laughs mockingly, asking Hwarin if he plans to hide behind a woman after acting so confident. Enraged, Mo-byung draws her sword and declares that she will fight. The Viper leader smirks contemptuously, dismissing them as young fools. Mo-byung cries out as Hwarin rushes past her, charging headfirst toward the waiting assassins. Namwook grabs Mo-byung's arm to stop her, and she angrily shouts Hwarin's name in protest. He calmly tells the furious Mo-byung to wait. Namwook explains that the young master they knew is gone, advising they should watch him for a bit. Hwarin lunges forward, vowing to kill his opponent with a single, decisive strike. Watching his master's bold charge, Namwook closes his eyes and nervously mutters, "Or not." The masked leader smirks and then launches himself forward to meet Hwarin's attack. Clash, their swords meet in a shower of sparks and brilliant blue energy. The Viper leader taunts Hwarin, asking if his simple mockery was all it took to enrage him. With glowing eyes, Hwarin skillfully dodges the leader's strike. The surprised assassin demands to know what scheme Hwarin is planning. Kukwik! The leader presses his attack with a fierce, powerful swing. Hwarin deftly parries and counters, sending the assassin hurtling backward through the air. In a flash of steel, Huaren's blade severs the assassin's finger. Huaren's entire party, including a wide-eyed Yanhua, watches the duel with stunned amazement. Seeing their leader wounded, the other assassins shout his title and rush forward to help. The Viper leader glares, clutching his bloody, maimed hand in fury. Huaren grimaces, admitting he'd intended to sever the man's arm but was impressed he minimized the damage. Standing his ground, Huaren announces that he has achieved his goal. His companions cry out in unison, warning him that it's still dangerous. Yong anxiously grabs another companion's arm, asking if they're still just gonna watch. Huaren calmly explains to his enemies that all he needed was a momentary advantage. Facing his foe, he declares that from this point forward, everything is a gamble. The two adversaries lock eyes in a tense, silent stare-down. The Viper leader begins to speak, instructing someone to tell squad leader Duke Sang when Huaren interrupts with a confident smile, claiming that he too is from the Hidden Saint cult. The squad of white-robed assassins stands ready in the sun-dappled forest. The scene frames the confrontation between Huaren and the Viper leader, a clash with the future's best assassination group. Huaren and the Viper leader face each other, the tension thick in the air. The leader's message repeats, an instruction for squad leader Duke Sang. Huaren delivers his stunning claim. He is also from the Hidden Saint cult. From a safe distance, Huaren's companions watch the tense standoff. They realize Huaren is using the sound transmission technique, which they are unable to hear. Yong looks on in disbelief, wondering when and how Huaren learned such an advanced skill. Huaren offers the leader a way out, telling him to leave now and relay his message for forgiveness. The Viper leader eyes him with suspicion, demanding to know how Huaren knows the squad leader's name and who he truly is. Huaren begins to sweat, realizing his bluff might not be enough as the leader's doubts persist. He hesitates, starting to speak with a nervous, "I." The assassin leader points his sword at Huaren's throat, demanding he answer immediately. The two men stare each other down, the air crackling with suspicion and unspoken threats. Huaren gambles, claiming that 5 years ago he was present when the Hidden Saint cult was eradicated. The leader challenges him, asking if he's one of the people attempting to revive the fallen cult. With unwavering confidence, Huaren declares that he is indeed a man from the Hidden Saint cult. The leader suddenly lunges forward, his blade flashing in a test of Huaren's resolve. Huaren's companions cry out his name in alarm as they watch the sudden attack. The assassin's blade stops just short of Huaren's throat as he scoffs that his opponent is barely 20 years old. He questions how such a young man could know both his squad leader's name and the history of the cult. The Viper leader glares skeptically, stating that he finds Huaren's entire story very hard to believe. The masked leader of the assassins offers Huaren a deal, demanding to know which branch of the Hidden Saint cult he serves. Huaren draws his sword, his expression a mask of calm determination. He stares down his opponent, his focus absolute. Internally, Huaren recalls his knowledge of the Hidden Saint cult, which is divided into 3 factions. He considers the Sun Saint cult a group that relentlessly pursues power above all else. He then thinks of the Moon Saint cult, a faction dedicated to religious pursuits. Finally, he remembers the core Hidden Saint cult, which acts as a mediator between the other two. He concludes that he doesn't know which faction the Green-Blood Viper Squad belongs to. He reasons that the Hidden and Moon Saint cults are unlikely to form an assassination squad. This makes the power-hungry Sun Saint cult the most logical culprits. However, a bead of sweat forms as he admits that it's not impossible for the others. He realizes this is a gamble, symbolized by a single tumbling die. Deciding to trust his instincts, he bets on the most likely outcome. A confident smile spreads across Huaren's face as he presents his sword, his choice made. Their eyes meet in a silent, tense standoff. Shh. The masked leader makes a sudden decision, ordering his forces to fall back. The leader grips his sword hilt, seemingly frustrated by the command to withdraw. In a flash, the assassins vanish from the clearing, leaving Huaren standing alone. The moment they're gone, Huaren coughs up blood and curses, the bluff having taken its toll. He realizes the internal injury from a previous strike is flaring up. The scene flashes back to the frantic battle against Jiaoguang and his crazed followers. Another flashback shows the group's peaceful rest stop just before the ambush. Huaren's thoughtful gaze drifts across the serene landscape. In the moments before the attack, Huaren meditated while his companions urged him to hurry. His companions watch as they pack up, the sun beginning to set. The brawny companion stands over their packed supplies, declaring that they're finished here. Huaren remains seated, lost in silent contemplation. Ahem, he's startled by the sudden appearance of a cross-jiggle yohai. She tosses him a small object, brusquely telling him to take it. He instinctively catches the object she threw. Opening his hand, he finds a potent healing pill from her household, meant for his internal wounds. He politely declines, stating that he didn't help her with the expectation of a reward. She trembles with frustration at his refusal. She angrily shouts at him to just take the medicine, tired of his protests. She then turns and runs off into the woods. After a few steps, she pauses, glancing back at him. She quietly whispers her thanks before disappearing. Warren watches her go, a small smile on his face. Startled, his body tenses as she places her hands on his shoulders. He chides her for scaring him, asking her to be less stealthy. She ignores his complaint, admonishing him for recklessly charging at the assassin. He sweats, sheepishly explaining he was just trying to save everyone. She leans her head on his shoulder, her voice filled with emotion as she asks why he has changed so much. She reminds him that just months ago, he was consumed by resentment for the world and himself. His past was a living hell, and she remembers it well. But today, she says, recalling him shielding them, "You risked your life for all of us." Leaning against him, she admits she's both incredibly impressed and proud of him. Hwoarang sits silently, absorbing her heartfelt words. Holding the pill Jaegul Yohei gave him, he begins to speak. Hwoarang's thoughts trail off as fragmented, blood-stained memories of the past flash before him. The shattered memories continue to swirl, showing fleeting glimpses of faces and violent scenes. A burnt photograph reveals a happy family portrait, showing Jaegul Byuk and Yohei with their parents. In a moment of quiet resolve, Hwoarang reaffirms that he is simply doing his best, so that he will have no regrets in the future. Sometime later, Hwoarang's group rides alongside the surviving members of the Jaegul clan. Hwoarang and Jaegul Byuk ride together, leading the procession through the forest. Jaegul Byuk formally thanks Hwoarang for escorting them back to the safety of their clan. He explains that their clan lacks fighters, and they would have been doomed if the assassins had attacked again. Hwoarang calmly replies that it was no trouble, as he was heading to the Jaegul clan anyway. Jaegul Byuk smiles knowingly at Hwoarang's convenient excuse. He asks if Hwoarang has come all this way just to meet Cheongyang. As Jaegul Byuk teases Hwoarang about what he likes so much about her, Jaegul Yohei peeks around the corner. HMPH, Yohei scoffs, asking if Hwoarang likes Cheongyang because she's strong. Or, she wonders with a curious look, is it simply because she's pretty? Back in the present, the party rides on, with Moby Young glancing over at a thoughtful Hwoarang. Hwoarang clears his throat, telling Jaegul Byuk he has a question for him. Jaegul Byuk readily agrees, inviting him to ask whatever he likes. Hwoarang brings his horse to a halt, his expression serious. Jaegul Byuk and a concerned Jaegul Yohei stop as well, wondering what's wrong. Hwoarang questions why the assassins would attack so close to the clan's territory, which is essentially their front yard. The scene flashes back to the deadly confrontation in the forest. Jaegul Yohei meekly suggests that their meeting was just a coincidence. Jaegul Byuk firmly disagrees, telling her Hwoarang deserves the truth since he risked his life for them. He reveals that the assassin's true goal seemed to be kidnapping Yohei. Hwoarang is taken aback as Jaegul Byuk explains the assassins carefully avoided harming Yohei while slaughtering everyone else. Jaegul Byuk concludes that a powerful group clearly has a grudge against their clan. Hwoarang deduces that if the assassins wanted a hostage, they must be after something in return. Jaegul Byuk admits he was already aware that some foe was targeting his clan. He grimly wonders if the attack occurred, because that sensitive information has finally leaked. As the group enters a city, onlookers recognize the arriving party, shouting, "It's the Jaegul clan!" Hwoarang gazes ahead with determination, his thoughts fixed on the Jaegul clan. The grand, imposing estate of the Jaegul clan comes into view. As they ride toward the gates, Hwoarang reflects that after a very long time, he will finally see her again. He thinks of his dear Cheongyang, imagining her with a fan obscuring her face. Hwoarang recalls that in his past life, their marriage was arranged, but they lived entirely separate lives. He was chronically ill, while she was a dedicated martial artist, constantly training. He remembers watching her walk away, a solitary figure against the setting sun. A sudden shout of, "Yong clan Heir!" snaps Hwoarang out of his reverie. Jaegul Byuk suggests they go greet the clan head, and Hwoarang quietly agrees. Hwoarang instructs his companions to rest, promising he will be back soon. The magnificent main hall of the Jegal clan looms before them. Inside the throne room, Hwarin and Jegal formally bow to the seated clan head. Hwarin begins his greeting, introducing himself as Yong Hwarin of the Tianzhong clan. He's cut short by a sudden movement and looks up in surprise. Bwahahaha! The Jegal clan head erupts into a hearty, booming laugh. He grabs Hwarin's shoulders, exclaiming in disbelief, "Am I seeing things?" The Jegal clan head, Jegal Chiok, remarks that Hwarin looks incredibly healthy, the polar opposite of last time. Hwarin formally greets him, and Jegal Chiok returns the sentiment, glad to see him. As Hwarin passes on his father's regards, a tear forms in his eye. Jegal Chiok grips Hwarin's shoulders, remarking on his impressive physique and sensing he's trained in martial arts. The clan head smirks, adding that Cheong-young will be quite happy. Ahem. A flustered Hwarin humbly replies that he is unworthy of such praise. Jegal Chiok apologizes for taking up too much of Hwarin's time. He adds that he shouldn't delay Hwarin, knowing someone is waiting for him. Hwarin respectfully accepts and bows to the clan head. As Hwarin turns to leave, the door creaks open. The clan head mentions another guest of similar age has arrived, suggesting Hwarin should meet him. Hwarin smiles politely and agrees to do so. Jegal is left alone in the grand hall after Hwarin departs. He looks nervous as he waits for his father to speak. In the darkened throne room, Jegal Chiok sits and grimly orders his son to speak. Jegal stands rigidly, his back to his father, the mood heavy with tension. Hwarin descends the grand staircase of the Jegal estate. He reflects that with the formalities over, it's finally time for the meeting he came for. Hwarin looks out over the sprawling clan grounds, ready to find her. In the distance, he spots a man in a yellow robe arguing with a servant girl. The servant insists that the person he seeks is absent, but the man demands she simply announce his name. Hwarin's eyes widen with sudden recognition of the argumentative man. The man in yellow glances over his shoulder, sensing Hwarin's approach. He turns to face Hwarin, who's now just a few feet away. The man smirks, recognizing Hwarin's arrival with a knowing, look who it is. He introduces himself as Jeokwang from the Songchun clan and offers a handshake. CSK, Hwarin realizes with a flicker of annoyance that this must be the other guest. Jeokwang correctly guesses Hwarin is there for Miss Cheong-young, but smugly points out that he arrived first. As they shake hands, Hwarin notes he's heard of the Songchun clan, their grip tightening into a power struggle. Hwarin declares he's here to meet his fiancée, an arrangement made before he was born, stunning Jeokwang. Jegal arrives, asking if both men are there to see Cheong-young. He informs them that she is most likely in the courtyard. Both Hwarin and Jeokwang turn toward the courtyard, wondering what's happening there. The two rivals walk side by side, an unspoken tension between them. Suddenly, the distinct sound of clashing swords reaches their ears. Ack! They see a man cry out as he's disarmed by a swift attack in the courtyard ahead. A fierce female warrior spars in the training grounds, her movements fluid and powerful. With her sword at the ready, the woman stands with an intense, focused gaze. A caption identifies the woman as the beautiful and formidable Jegal Cheong-young. A flashback shows an adoring crowd, chanting for the Snow Blossom Blade. The crowd continues to cheer her name with raised fists. Wah! An announcer proclaims that the Snow Blossom Blade has returned with a demonic human's head. Spectators marvel at the Jegal clan's prodigy, one noting her well-known obsession with martial arts. The scene returns to the present, focusing on Cheong-young's determined walk. She stands proudly in the courtyard, her presence commanding attention. Hwarin watches her with a mix of awe and familiarity. He recalls a past memory of watching her walk away, a solitary figure in the sun. Hwarin thinks of Cheong-young's name as he watches her train from a distance. He remembers how her relentless training earned her the title of Snow Blossom Blade. In his past life, she became one of the 3 strongest female martial artists by the age of 40. Hwarin admits to himself that even then, her swordsmanship had already far surpassed his own. Jeokwang rushes forward, calling out Miss Cheong-young as he nears the training ground. Cheong-young turns to face Jeokwang as he greets her, saying it's been a while. Cheong-young bluntly asks Jeokwang why he visits so often. He claims he just wanted to see her, but she firmly reminds him that she already has a fiancé. Jeokwang's expression sours as he spots Hwarin standing nearby. Yong looks over, her eyes widening in surprise at the sight of Hwarin. She asks if it's really him, and Hwarin calmly greets Yong, acknowledging it's been a while. Yong questions how he is here and if he has finally recovered his health. Hwarin explains that he recently recovered and is now touring the lands, adding that he stopped by specifically to see her. She asks if he will be staying for a few days. Hwarin smiles, replying that he intends to leave early tomorrow morning. The two stand opposite each other in the quiet courtyard, a gap of time and space between them. Hwarin amends his plan, suggesting they talk tomorrow after her training, as he has something important to discuss. As Yong turns to leave, Jae-kwang clenches his fist in frustration. Jae-kwang glares with intense fury, seething at the turn of events. Later that night, the estate is quiet under the moonlit sky. Hwarin sits alone at a desk, seemingly organizing his thoughts. He senses a presence as a shadow falls over his door. Before the visitor can knock, Hwarin asks if there is something they would like to say. Hwarin identifies his guest as his rival, Jae-kwang, who enters the room. Jae-kwang boldly declares his love for Miss Yong. Hwarin calmly acknowledges his rival's audacity. Jae-kwang challenges Hwarin, questioning if he truly intends to marry her. Hwarin coolly retorts that Jae-kwang is the one lacking manners. Jae-kwang reminds Hwarin that Yong is obsessed with martial arts. He explains that because of this, she seeks immense physical power. Jae-kwang sneers, directly telling Hwarin that he is weaker than him. He begins to boast, stating he's been making a name for himself for years. A flashback shows Jae-kwang looking confident and powerful with his sword drawn. He proudly states that people have given him the title of Azure Cloud Dragonblade. Returning to the present, he points out that Hwarin has only just recovered from his illness. Jae-kwang leans in accusingly, claiming Hwarin doesn't even love Yong. The two rivals lock eyes in a tense, silent standoff. Unimpressed, Hwarin dismisses him, telling him to leave if he's finished talking. Jae-kwang's face twists in a furious scowl. As he sits, he subtly hides a small vial of dark liquid behind his back. On his way out, Jae-kwang leaves Hwarin with a parting threat. "You'll regret this." Alone once more, Hwarin places his hand on a mysterious book, thinking he may need to use it sooner than expected. Another visitor arrives, and Hwarin asks what it is, wondering if he interrupted his rest. Jaego Yohei stands politely at his door, having come for a late-night visit. Hwarin asks the young girl what brings her to his room at such a late hour. She bows, explaining that she heard he was leaving early the next morning. Hwarin says a longer stay would disrupt Young's training, and that he has matters to attend to back home. Yohei cheekily asks if he really plans to marry her sister, causing Hwarin to look flustered. Hwarin laments, wondering why everyone is so interested in their marriage. Breaking a sweat, he resolves that he needs to straighten things out. The next morning, Hwarin's group prepares for their departure in the clan's main plaza. Jaegol-byuk, flanked by his sisters, asks Hwarin if he must leave so soon. Hwarin politely states that since his business is concluded, it's time for him to leave. Jaegol-byuk smiles, teasing that Young will be quite disappointed by his quick departure. Hwarin turns his attention to Young, asking if they could speak privately for a moment. Suddenly, a distant shout for the Yong clan heir echoes across the courtyard, interrupting them. A determined man in a yellow robe strides forward with his entourage, intent on a confrontation. Hwarin and the Jaegol siblings turn to face the approaching man, who offers a smug greeting. A voice booms across the courtyard, formally requesting a duel with the heir to the Tianzong clan. The man in yellow smiles confidently, holding his hands together in a formal challenge. Another shout for the Yong clan heir echoes, making the target of the challenge clear. Jaegol-byuk and Young watch with concern as the man approaches Hwarin. The challenger and Hwarin now stand face to face in the courtyard. A duel the Jaegol siblings and their companions react with collective shock. Hwarin steps forward, calmly telling the challenger that he has no shame. Young intervenes, scolding the man for demanding a duel against someone who just recovered and telling him to schedule it properly. The challenger laughs, claiming he only wishes to witness the renowned Soaring Dragon Emperor's sword and must do so now before Hwarin leaves. He makes a formal gesture of request toward Hwarin, who remains stone-faced. Hwarin glances over the murmuring crowd that has gathered to watch the spectacle. He realizes with grim certainty that the man is intent on humiliating him. Hwarin's three companions watch from the side, looking entirely unconcerned. The muscular companion grins, suggesting Hwarin should show his challenger that his sword has been repaired. A confident smirk plays on Hwarin's lips. Hwarin glances at Mo Bi-young, asking if she plans on stopping him. Mo Bi-young calmly states that he still hasn't recovered from his fight against the assassins. Nevertheless, she says she knows he will accept the duel anyway. She trusts that he is acting with the best intentions for the Tianzhong clan. As a member of the clan, she pledges to gladly follow him on the path he walks. With a hand over her heart, Mo Bi-young declares her unwavering belief in Yong Hwarin. Hwarin is touched by her faith, quietly wondering how much she has changed. He turns back toward his challenger with a faint, knowing smile. Clasping his hands in a formal salute, Hwarin introduces himself as the heir to the Tianzhong clan. The challenger bows slightly as Hwarin prepares to give his answer. Before the entire crowd, Hwarin announces that he accepts the duel. Regression of the Yong clan heir. A large crowd forms a circle in the main courtyard, ready for the duel to begin. Yong announces the rules for the friendly duel. Qi is permitted, but sword qi and lethal moves are forbidden. The challenger adds that if a duelist loses their grip or their sword breaks, they lose. Hwarin clarifies that a sword breaking from an inability to endure qi will also count as a loss. The challenger smirks, thinking the rules are heavily in his favor. He believes Hwarin is barely able to manipulate qi due to his internal injuries. With a cruel gleam in his eyes, he vows to take his time and play with Hwarin. Hwarin calmly suggests that a simple duel is boring and that they should wager something. The challenger looks up, intrigued by the mention of a wager. Hwarin proposes the terms. The loser agrees to never set foot in the Jigal clan again. The challenger finds the terms interesting and accepts, while Hwarin asks if he is certain. Each confident in their own victory, the two rivals agree that the wager must be honored. Jago Yohai looks on in wide-eyed shock at the high stakes. An observer realizes the brilliance of the wager. If Hwarin wins, his opponent will be banished from the clan. The thought continues. And if Hwarin loses, it's no great loss since he's engaged to Cheon-young and will live there anyway. The observer is impressed, realizing Hwarin devised this clever, one-sided plan in an instant. Jago Byuk steps forward, telling both men to prepare themselves. He announces that the duel will begin soon as the two warriors take their positions. Wah! An excited roar erupts from the crowd. The spectators cheer and raise their fists as the anticipation builds. Hwarin takes in the roaring crowd with a subtle, confident smile. As the duel begins, Jago Byuk asks Cheon-young who she thinks will win. Jago Yohei believes the Yong clan heir should win after defeating assassins, but Jago Byuk bluntly says no. He confidently declares that the Yong clan heir will lose, stunning his sister. Jago Byuk clarifies that while Hwarin has a bright future, he is certain to lose this specific duel. Jaekwang draws his sword with a menacing snarl. A caption identifies him as Jokwang, the Azure Cloud Dragonblade, his eyes glowing red in the dark. It explains the legend of his sword, which sounds like a dragon's cry and is wreathed in blue qi. Jago Byuk elaborates that while Jaekwang's personality is poor, his experience and skills are on par with elite rookies. He reiterates his prediction to the worried sisters that the Yong clan heir will lose this duel. Jago Byuk asks for Cheon-young's opinion, but she remains silent and watches intently. Jaekwang taunts Hwarin, saying he's always wondered why the Great Dragon Clan has fallen so low. He sneers, calling them nothing more than worms now. Hwarin calmly replies, "I will show you." The duel begins in a flash as both warriors rush to meet in the center of the courtyard. Wah! Their swords meet with a resounding clang, sending sparks flying. Jaekwang unleashes a flurry of swift, blue-glowing attacks with a confident smirk. Hwarin shifts his form to counter, his eye gleaming with intense focus. Hwarin responds with a powerful sequence of attacks, putting his opponent on the defensive. Jaekwang watches Hwarin's relentless counterattack from a distance. The two warriors engage in a fierce exchange of blows in the courtyard. Grinning ferociously, Jaekwang declares they should have some fun as their swords lock. The duel intensifies, with both men matching each other blow for blow. Jaekwang is inwardly shocked, unable to believe Hwarin can see the path of his attacks. Hwarin's eye burns with a golden light as he focuses completely on the fight. He realizes with a start that he can clearly see his opponent's sword strikes. Hwarin understands this is a level of insight he shouldn't have attained yet, where chi enhances his vision. A brief flashback shows a fierce old man with fiery red eyes. Hwarin recalls the old man's hand on a glowing sword hilt. He wonders if this newfound power is also thanks to that mysterious old man. The fighters briefly disengage, Hwarin standing ready in the center of the courtyard. Jiaguang scoffs that Hwarin is fast as a rat, while Hwarin looks on with irritation. Jiaguang's sword begins to glow with an intense blue aura. He prepares to launch a powerful overhead strike, gathering his chi. The crowd, including a shocked Jaegul Yohei, recognizes his ultimate technique, the mighty azure cloud sword. Hwarin's companions look on as he recognizes the famous sword style of the Songchun clan. Jiaguang challenges Hwarin to come at him with everything he has. Hwarin answers by enveloping his own sword in a brilliant golden aura. The blue energy of the mighty azure cloud sword gathers in front of Jiaguang. The powerful blue attack surges toward Hwarin. Hwarin unleashes his own technique, the Soaring Dragon Emperor Sword, forming a golden dragon of energy. The golden dragon and the azure wave of energy collide in a massive explosion. Jiaguang mocks his opponent, asking if this is the full extent of the Tianzhong clan's power. Hwarin is blasted backward by the sheer force of his opponent's technique. With a malicious grin, Jiaguang unleashes his mighty azure sword's secret move, declaring, "This is the end." Hwarin stands his ground, his arm bleeding but his stance unbroken. Both Hwarin's companions and the Jaegul siblings watch with stunned expressions. Hwarin looks up, a trickle of blood on his lip, his expression determined. Jiaguang's eyes widen as he grits his teeth in disbelief. He's furious, realizing that Hwarin somehow blocked the secret move of his clan. Hwarin rips a strip from his sleeve to bandage his hand, coolly stating that it's not over yet. With his sword pointed forward, an injured but resolute Hwarin challenges Jiaguang to come at him. Jiaguang's face contorts with absolute, teeth-gritting rage, his eyes glowing with blue energy. Jiaguang snarls that he never liked Hwarin from the start. He rants about Hwarin's supposedly superior and nice demeanor, which he always found infuriating. Jiaguang admits that while the conflict started over Miss Changyang, his desire has evolved into a simple, burning need to crush Hwarin. Horrified, Jaegul Yohei pleads with her brother to stop the fight, realizing it's no longer a friendly duel. She looks on in wide-eyed terror as the energy intensifies. Turning desperately, she calls out to her sister for help. Chiang-young watches the escalating duel, her expression unreadable but intensely focused. A wave of blue energy washes over Hwarin, who stands firm against the onslaught. Hwarin quietly admits to himself that he has been lying all this time. He recalls how he pretended to be calm and all-knowing, even when the future was unclear. In a memory, he stands alone on a cliff, acknowledging that he is no saint. He accepts the heavy truth that he stole a child's future. Back in the present, his feet are planted firmly as blue energy swirls around him. He vows that he will not run from this battle. Jiaguang unleashes his full power, as Hwarin is said to be walking right into the center of the force. Hwarin declares his new resolve. Though not a saint, he will try his hardest to help those he can. Hwarin's sword erupts in a golden aura as he prepares to unleash his own power. Jiaguang, bewildered by Hwarin's monologue, furiously demands to know what he is talking about. A massive vortex of blue energy surrounds Hwarin. He stands his ground, bracing against the crushing force as the ground beneath him cracks. With a determined glare, Hwarin vows to show his opponent why his family is known as the Clan of Dragons. A blinding explosion of blue energy fills the courtyard. The Jaegul siblings are pushed back by the force of the blast. Jaegul Yohei grabs her brother, screaming that this is no longer a spar and must be stopped. Jiangyang draws her sword, her expression grim as she prepares to intervene. Yohei shouts in alarm as Chiang-young walks toward the swirling storm of energy. Chiang-young gazes intently into the chaotic clash of powers. She steps calmly into the raging maelstrom, seemingly unaffected. From within the blue energy, a massive, ink-black dragon of golden power emerges. The Jaegul siblings stare in utter shock, wondering what they are seeing. The crowd, including Hwarin's companions, murmurs in disbelief, asking if that is a dragon. Both Hwarin and Jeokwang roar as their golden and blue energies collide with immense force. Jeokwang realizes with horror that Hwarin is absorbing his energy and growing even stronger. He panics, understanding that at this rate, he will lose. A pair of hands forms around a glowing sphere of golden energy, ready to act. An elder of the Jaegul clan appears, preparing to end the duel. With a slight smile, the elder declares that the duel ends now. As both duelists are pushed to their limits, the Jaegul siblings cry out for their lord. The elder raises a hand, warning them that if he lets the duel continue, someone is truly going to die, as Jeokwang looks on in frustration. Jeokwang confronts the elder, furiously claiming he won the duel. He insists that he would have defeated Hwarin if the elder hadn't interfered. Hwarin coolly holds up the hilt of his broken sword, reminding Jeokwang of the rules they agreed to. Stunned into silence, Jeokwang trembles, unable to believe that he really lost. In denial, he concludes that Hwarin must have used some kind of sorcery. He explains to the elder that Hwarin was injured and weak before suddenly gaining a strange new strength. Jeokwang points an accusing finger, shouting that Hwarin definitely used demonic arts. With her sword at his throat, Qingyang coldly orders a stunned Jeokwang to leave. She reminds him of the wager, her expression leaving no room for argument. The Jaegul elder and Hwarin's companions watch silently as the duel's consequences unfold. Surrounded by the red-eyed glares of the crowd, Jeokwang feels the crushing weight of public shame. He stares at his broken sword, the reality of his utter defeat finally sinking in. Tisk. The elder scoffs as Jeokwang walks away, lamenting how the Songchun clan could have such a pathetic heir. The elder approaches Hwarin with a booming laugh, congratulating him on a splendid and shocking match. He claps Hwarin on the shoulder, praising his impressive martial prowess so soon after recovering. But, he explains, that's exactly why he had to intervene, as a duel on Jaegul grounds could not end in death. Hwarin offers a pained smile and a formal salute, humbly replying that the elder flatters him. Oh dear. He suddenly coughs up blood, revealing the true severity of his internal injuries. Concerned, the elder insists that Hwarin is in no state to travel and must rest at the main estate overnight. Hwarin respectfully accepts the offer with a grateful thank you. As Hwarin and his group walk away, the elder watches them with a sharp, calculating gaze. Hwarin's companions look at him with newfound respect, remarking that the Tianzong clan truly has a dragon. A smirk plays on the elder's lips as he thoughtfully repeats the title, the Clan of Dragons. His expression suddenly hardens with resolve. He glances at his own bloodied hands, a stark reminder of the immense power he had to suppress. He recalls the moment he formed the golden sphere of energy to end the fight. Ha ha ha. A wild, unsettling laugh escapes him, blood dripping from his clenched fist. He clutches his chest, his manic laughter continuing unabated. With a sinister grin, the elder turns and calls out for Jaegul Byuk. Clutching his bleeding hand, the elder informs Byuk that it's time to accelerate their plans. Jaegul Byuk bows respectfully, replying, "As you command." As night falls, the Jaegul clan estate settles into a quiet stillness. The scene shifts to the entrance of a private residence, its lanterns glowing softly. Inside, Hwarin removes his robe, his bandaged arms and torso visible. He sits shirtless and alone in his room, quietly contemplating the day's brutal events. He reflects grimly on his body, noting that he's gained many more scars. A visitor appears at his door, and he calmly acknowledges Changyang's arrival. In a quick flashback, Changyang is seen approaching his brightly lit doorway. Now wearing a simple robe, Hwarin invites her to enter. Changyang steps gracefully into the room. He says her name, and Changyang meets his gaze with an intense, unreadable expression. Hwarin sits formally, his hands on his knees as he quietly waits. She gets straight to the point, asking him how he is feeling. Hwarin admits he went a little overboard, but insists he's all right as they sit facing each other. A quiet, tense moment passes between them, her expression thoughtful and his slightly nervous. Hwarin concedes that Jeokwang was not an easy opponent, and Changyang's eyes narrow in thought. Surprised by her penetrating gaze, Hwarin asks what she's thinking. She begins her analysis, starting with the mighty azure cloud sword of the Songchun clan. She describes it as a terrifying martial art that tears opponents apart with overwhelming chi. Additionally, she notes, Jeoguang's own martial prowess was certainly not lacking. Yet, you won, she states simply, causing a bead of sweat to run down Hwarin's face. Looking him straight in the eye, she emphasizes the most important fact, while injured, no less. She then brings up the mysterious martial art he used at the end, visualized as a shadowy beast. While similar to the soaring dragon emperor sword, she observes, something about it felt different. Seeing how he devoured his opponent's power, she thought he might have learned a Wudong sect art. Hwarin looks increasingly tense, cornered by her sharp and accurate breakdown of the fight. She presses on, reminding him that it hasn't been long since he recovered from his last battle. Still analyzing the duel, Yong thoughtfully asks Hwarin how he trained to achieve his newfound power. Hwarin observes internally that Yong is truly obsessed with martial arts. Realizing she may have been too direct, Yong pulls back, asking if she talked too much. She quickly refocuses, reminding him that he wanted to tell her something. Hwarin smiles gently, confirming that he does have something important to say. He explains that after recovering and dedicating himself to training, he has discovered a new purpose. Reaching his bandaged hand toward the sky, he declares his new goal is to protect his clan and family. He clenches his fist with resolve, vowing to do whatever it takes to achieve his goal. He then turns the question to her, suggesting she must have a similar powerful goal. Yong listens quietly, her expression unreadable as she considers his words. Answering for her, he clenches his fist and states that her goal is simply to get stronger. He expresses his hope that she will be free to achieve her own goals without hindrance. Confused by his statement, Yong asks him to clarify what he means. He explains his belief that she will become an exceptional martial artist, and that he doesn't want to stand in her way. Her eyes flash with crimson rage as she misinterprets his words, furiously thinking he's found another woman. Ahem. Hwarin quickly denies her assumption, flustered by her sudden anger. He clarifies their differing passions. She loves martial arts while he loves his family and clan. A memory of his family solidifies his point. Hwarin sincerely tells Yong that he wants her to live her life the way she truly desires. He watches her with a serious and unwavering gaze, waiting for her response. After a tense silence, Yong declares she has a wish she wants him to fulfill. The scene shifts to the two of them standing opposite each other in a moonlit courtyard. Hwarin looks surprised, asking if her wish is to have a duel with him. Yong stands ready, her hand on the hilt of her unsheathed sword. She draws her blade, stating that much can be learned by clashing swords. With his reflection in her blade, she explains that combat reveals a person's thoughts and desires. Pointing her sword at him, she declares that a duel will be her answer. Hwarin accepts with a smile, drawing his own sword and agreeing to her terms. Their blades meet with a brilliant flash of sparks under the full moon. A friendly duel begins as they exchange swift and precise strikes. Their blades cross again in a resounding clang of steel. The two warriors circle each other, testing their opponent's stance. They lock blades once more, both equally determined. The courtyard fills with the graceful, deadly dance of their duel. Their swords meet in a blur of motion. An orb of energy forms as their blades lock in a test of strength. They break apart and clash again, their movements perfectly matched. Hwarin grins, clearly enjoying the spirited match with his skilled fiancée. The two warriors are silhouetted against the giant moon, their swords crossed in a perfect stalemate. The next morning, the scene shifts to the grand main gate of the Jaegul clan estate. Hwarin and his companions walk toward the gate, ready to depart. As the Jaegul siblings watch, Hwarin's group offers a formal bow of farewell. The Jaegul siblings and their guards stand assembled to see the guests off, with Jaegul Yohei looking particularly pouty. Hwarin and his companions mount up and ride out through the main gates. As he leaves, Hwarin casts one last look back with a soft smile. Yong watches him depart, her expression thoughtful and composed. After he's gone, a warm, knowing smile graces her lips. Hwarin rides onward, leading his group away from the estate. The group rides out of the fortress and into the vast, sunlit valley beyond. The scene settles on a final, sweeping view of the magnificent Jaegul clan stronghold. In a quiet, sun-drenched courtyard, two swords stand embedded in the earth, marking the end of the duel. The scene shifts to a secluded inn, nestled deep within a lush forest. Hwarin's brawny companion takes a hearty swig of wine, his face flushed with enjoyment. Kua tilde. He lets out a satisfied sigh as Hwarin and his companions relax at a table inside the inn. The brawny man marvels at Hwarin's strength, asking when he trained so much and what moves he used. His top-knotted companion agrees, noting that while the final move was the Soaring Dragon Emperor sword, it felt different from what they knew. Hwarin deflects with a smile, joking that he's been with them the whole time and couldn't have practiced alone. Internally, however, Hwarin confirms to himself that it was indeed the Soaring Dragon Emperor sword. He thinks back on the fight, recalling that as his chi ran out, the Taiji depth heaven arts he learned activated, creating a swirling vortex of dark energy. He recalls the traditional form of his clan's art, which manifests as a powerful blue dragon. When combined, the arts created a new style that consumes an opponent's chi, a power so great the Jaegal Elder had to intervene. Hwarin reflects that with greater mastery, his power would have become uncontrollable, capable of devouring even the Jaegal clan head's chi. He internally lists the powers he has begun to synthesize: the Soaring Dragon Emperor sword, the Azure Bamboo sword, and even the chi he absorbed from the Jaegal Elder. Hwarin sits in quiet contemplation, processing the immense and volatile power he now wields. The four companions sit together at the inn, the mood celebratory but thoughtful. The brawny companion raises a toast, observing that Hwarin seems to have had an awakening during the duel. Instructor Mo watches Hwarin intently as he takes a thoughtful sip from his cup. As he gazes into his drink, he sees the reflection of Instructor Mo looking back at him. His mind flashes back to past hardships, including kneeling in defeat and battling a shadowy beast. He remembers his training with a master and the climactic clash with Jiuquang's blue dragon energy. Instructor Mo looks on with a knowing smile, thinking to herself that his ambitious goal might actually be possible. She voices her resolve, declaring that they must all strive harder so as not to fall behind their young clan leader. His two male companions pound the table in enthusiastic agreement, cheering for Hwarin. The brawny man reflects on Hwarin's incredible progress, finding it unbelievable compared to just weeks ago. He proudly lists Hwarin's recent feats, defeating a demonic lion and the Azure Cloud whatever warrior. Ha ha ha! He lets out a booming laugh, exclaiming that their leader is growing stronger day by day. From an upper balcony, a mysterious, hooded figure observes the celebrating group below. Elsewhere, the hooded figure kneels, announcing to an unseen master that they have a report. Meanwhile, the Jaegal Elder sits alone in a dark room, obsessing over Hwarin's power, his injured hand trembling as he mutters about sorcery. His eyes glowing with blue energy, the Elder slams his bloodied hands on the table, convinced Hwarin used sorcery. The scene transitions to Hwarin and his group riding their horses at a gallop through the woods. Hwarin leads the way, his expression focused as they travel down a forest path. His companions ride hard to keep up, calling out for their young clan leader to slow down. Instructor Mo shouts a warning, telling him the horse will collapse from exhaustion if he keeps this pace. Whoa. Hwarin finally reins in his galloping horse, bringing it to a halt. He turns back with a sheepish look, admitting that he must have been too eager. Instructor Mo rides up beside him, gently advising him to relax. She wisely cautions that rushing may cause him to lose something more important, and Hwarin humbly agrees. Hwarin spots a small spring nearby and suggests they rest and water their horses. A hand dips a gourd into the clear, cool water of the spring. At the tranquil clearing, the horses drink peacefully from the stream. While the horses rest, his companions also take the opportunity to gather water. Hwarin sits alone by the water's edge, his sword beside him as he enters a meditative state. His companions watch from a distance, remarking that their leader seems quite preoccupied with martial arts these days. The top-knotted companion watches with a gentle smile, commenting that it's a good thing. Hwarin meditates, realizing this phase of rapid growth is temporary, and that he must seize this chance to break through his limits. He levitates slightly off the ground, completely absorbed in his deep meditation. Hwarin's meditation is shattered as he senses a presence, whipping out his sword and demanding, "Who's there?" He charges into the woods, yelling for the hidden figures to show themselves. His companions run toward him, calling out to their young clan leader and asking what's happening. Dark figures swarm through the forest trees, preparing for an ambush. His companions look up in alarm as dozens of shadowy figures perch ominously on the branches above. Hwarin finds himself surrounded by the shadows of his unseen assailants. The four companions stand ready, their expressions grim as they assess the looming threat. Instructor Mo narrows her eyes, questioning if their ambushers are simply bandits. She immediately retracts her thought, realizing that no common bandit would possess such an immense amount of chi. The group prepares for battle as the brawny companion identifies them as assassins and asks if it's the same group they fought before. Hworin disagrees, noting that these assassins are different and aren't wearing the same masks. He stares at the cloaked figures, whose powerful auras make him question if they can truly be called assassins. As more red-eyed assassins emerge from the shadows, Hworin senses that their aura feels closer to the orthodox sects. A demonic figure emerges from a vortex of dark energy, growling menacingly. "Found you." The figure is revealed to be a blood-soaked man with a maniacal grin, and Hworin's group watches in horror as recognition dawns. As the crazed figure lunges with a terrifying roar, Hworin gasps his name in disbelief. "Jahuang?"